prosecutor's proposed panel on protest victim compensation, saying it risks turning into an exercise in whitewashing rather than delivering truth, justice and accountability. In a statement, KHRC said the framework ropes in the Interior Ministry, the Attorney General and Treasury, institutions that have either defended or executed the very abuses under review. The Commission said the framework would erode its mandate and that of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority. It demanded a formal apology for police brutality, release of detained protesters, withdrawal of charges against rights defenders and enforcement of court-ordered compensation. Intern nurses whose placements were recently revoked because they are yet to officially graduate are demanding a meeting with Health CS Aden Duale. They camped outside Afya House on Thursday demanding reinstatement, escalating a standoff that has drawn national attention to what they call a gross injustice.
Camped here for more than 2 weeks. In fact, we are not going to relent anytime sooner. We are going to continue until the day the CS will decide to step down and involve us in a dialogue. We have written application and appointment letters, but he's not responding.
Been trying to have a dialogue with the CS and he's been dodging it. We've wrote like 4 appointment letters that he's not responding to, and we are very saddened, and we've gone through the list and we know some people that have license and are posted.
The Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry has begun amending laws governing special economic zones as it seals a new trade deal with China in a twin strategy aimed at expanding Kenya's outsourcing industry and boosting agricultural exports. Principal Secretary for Investment Abubakar Hassan said the upcoming Business Amendment Bill 2025 proposes 5 reforms to make it easier for business process outsourcing firms to set up operations in the SEZs. The first amendment will allow BPO firms to operate from individual office buildings instead of requiring large parcels of land to be gazetted as SEZs. The second will allow specialized education institutions to set up in SEZs, creating centers of excellence to train skilled workers. Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen has warned politicians against inciting youth to violence, saying legal action would be taken against those involved. Speaking in Njeri during the Jukwaa Salami initiative, Murkomen decried widespread looting and vandalism of property during recent nationwide protests.
Political violence is something that we are monitoring. We are going to discuss with our chiefs and assistant chiefs how we should all prepare ourselves as a society to confront use of young people to cause violence, burn property, destroy property, kill people, attack people. This is an area that we want to have also a conversation with our citizens in this area. As we go to the elections, we do not want people to charge young people for purpose of violence. And we are very, very much concerned of recent activities during protests where shops have been burned, businesses burned, government vehicles targeted, police stations. That culture must come to an end.
Murkomen also pledged to investigate all gender-based violence cases, dismissing claims that investigations into the Kware massacre, where the bodies of 42 women were discovered at the dump site, had gone cold.
I see some people who want to score cheap political points out of this very heinous act. It's something that we take seriously. Remember that the president, even pursuant to that incident, established a task force to look at the issues of femicide in the country, and the report is ready. We should be able to present its findings, most of its findings related to some of the things I talked about: society, investigations, early warnings, communication.
Russia has launched 574 drones and 40 missiles on Ukraine in one of the heaviest bombardments in weeks, Ukrainian officials say. One person was killed in a drone and missile strike on the western city of Lviv, while 15 others were reported wounded in an attack on the southwestern Transcarpathian region. The attacks came as US President Donald Trump spearheads diplomatic moves to halt the war. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Adri Sabiha said the strikes highlighted why efforts to bring it to an end were so critical. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country, we are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human, everybody's human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, staki kuongea. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
One of the things that I hate in our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can't run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people, and we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing politics of conmanship, and even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Imabo, utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Good morning. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Jaro.
Hello?
Hello?
Over?
Over.
Wonderful.
Tango, Zulu.
Tango, Foxtrot, such things.
How are you?
Mimi.
It's a Friday day.
Okay, good. There's a song.
Saturday, Sunday, yeah.
Oh, Saturday, Sunday, do what? Friday,
that one.
Okay. The words we never know the word. The song we never know the words to, but we know the song.
Exactly, know the song.
I was saying, I don't know the password for this computer. Now I'll just tell everybody, and it had switched off. So then I was telling you so that you can tell the people concerned, and that screen over there in front of us also. You know, we can just be real about something sometimes.
I know.
That screen is also not on. So, sasa
Poa kwaje?
Ni mimi niko salama. Vile unaona
nakucheki.
Imagine it's Friday and we're getting into the last conversation. It's just like it happens, and then in
before you know it,
flash of a tail, already at the end of the week, and August is fast approaching its end. Already on the 22nd.
22nd, yeah.
Of August, the 8th month. Karibuni sana. 13 minutes after 6 o'clock. This is the Situation Room. A very, very good morning to you. And it's Friday. So Dennis Aseto and Ndu with you this morning. One Dennis down as it is on Friday. But like we say, the show continues. We will have conversations that we need to, and look at things that are affecting, whether it's national discourse, regional issues, or going around the globe. That's what we do right here on the Situation Room, keeping the afflicted rather comfortable and comforting the afflicting the comfortable rather. Okay, so getting into the show this morning, let's have a conversation around certain things, shall we? And let's let you know what those will be. Yesterday, we were told that there was going to be thunder, lightning, such things. Did they happen? Thunder and lightning, there was a little bit of it here and there.
A little bit of it here and there. There were attacks on journalists, vehicles destroyed. A few of our colleagues were hurt.
Yes,
phones were stolen.
Goodness.
Yeah, property pretty much just, So there are reports indicating that there were two sets of anti and pro. So, yeah.
I know. Look, and we can say this morning, some journalists from the Standard Group, journalists from Royal Media Services, Citizen, and also TV47, and unfortunately got the hit yesterday. And you know, in everything, we stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters, and just hope that they're okay, getting some healing. And we know that there was some medical aid that was apportioned to them yesterday. Thank you so much, Joylene.
Santi Joylene.
And so, of course, standing with them and just hoping they're okay. But I mean, in terms of a political sphere and what happened yesterday, I don't know that anything earth-shaking happened, but of course these are conversations that we'll have as we get into it this morning. Sawa. And we will have that discourse at some point today, but let me tell you how it starts off this morning at 7 a.m. It is a Healthy Friday conversation, and it's a very important one. Eve, thank you very much for this one, because it is the bane of the existence of a lot of people.
True.
And I mean, I also started off with no sugar, more than sugar, living with type 1 diabetes, and we know that usually this sugar issue is related to type 2 diabetes because it's a lifestyle thing. But type 1 diabetes is what you're born with. You don't have any control over it. It's what your body is able or not able to produce and or control. So we will be joined by Dr. Eric Jenga, who is a consultant diabetologist. In case you didn't know such things existed, they do, with the Aga Khan University Hospital. And he'll be joined by Sydney Njoroge, who is living with type 1 diabetes. We'll have that conversation. And for those who may not know what may be going on, sasa when we hear I have sugar, niko na sukari, niko na shida ya sukari. Let's talk about that this morning, and let's look at ways in which maybe it's time to go in and see doctor, right? Let's do that at 7 as our Healthy Friday conversation. And then at 8 o'clock, we'll look into the week that was, homecoming and rhetoric. Snapshot of Kenya's political week. We'll do that this morning with Kimani Njeri, who is a politician, and Alex Mwadhi, who is a political analyst. They both join us at 8 a.m. We'll do an overview of the week that was and what then yesterday turned out to be. We're going to end this show today with charged not released. Youth detainees trapped by bond costs. It's been swirling around. Are you going to charge them hundreds of thousands of shillings to secure their bail or bond? Or are we going to say that it's a misdemeanor and not a felony? Melvin Thogo is a lawyer and human rights advocate, and Nema G. Mutemi is a counter-terrorism expert. We're going to have that conversation at 9 o'clock, and that wraps up the conversation for our youth perspective this Friday. But that's what we're going to be looking into directly. There's still some folks who are sitting in remand, and because they've not been able to make bail, and that conversation still continues. We know that also Siasa Place also gave out a statement yesterday in terms of what's happening under the leadership of Njeri Mawako. Let's look at that today and see what then it means and how we can, if, move forward. Sawa. Those are the conversations that we'll be having this morning right here on The Situation Room. Good morning, everybody, and karibu sana. Just in case you are wondering, our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook, and on X. And a good morning once again to our audience on KTN. We're getting into conversations this morning. So, straddle. What's the word they say? Buckle up.
Buckle up.
It's going to be an interesting ride. We, speaking of rides, coming back, Zambia.
Yes. So we are in Zambia, right? And now let's just have a dogo conversation about the cultures that happens in Zambia. So they have traditional ceremonies that include Kwomboka, especially among the Lozi. We have Nswala, Ngoni, and Mutomboko Lunda, and all these are associated with the marital rites. And if you want to go get married, it's like our Rurashio here in Kenya. And when we talk about their music, so they have the Kalindula, they also have Zamrock, which was mostly played in the 1970s, and modern Zambian hip-hop and Afropop. When you talk about African music, if you look even the global charts, African music seems to be doing very, very well, especially coming from the western part of the continent.
True.
Give it to Nigerians and Ghanaians for an amazing job they're doing. Yeah. Then again, the Zambian motto is One Zambia, One Nation, and that highlights unity in diversity. You know, always a dream that one day that motto would be carried by Africa. One Africa, one people. You know,
I love it.
It is something that I always look forward to, because if you look at what other continents are doing, so talk about Europe, the way they speak in one voice, talk about their currency and what that does to embolden the economies. Only if Africa would have that conversation on matters to do with monetary policy and having a single currency and an African army as well, perhaps we'd see the change that Africa dreams on having. But let's go to our proverb today. Sondu, you lived in France.
Yes.
You've lived in London.
No. But, I mean, visited, but not lived.
Visited, all right. You're now in Kenya.
Yes.
But there is something that you always find in these countries, which is
food.
Human connection. Human connection, wherever you go.
Yes.
So our proverb today talks about that. In the West, there are relatives.
That's
in
the
the West, there are relatives. Meaning, wherever you go across the globe, you will always find human connection, whichever way you want to look at it. If you go to a strange land and you live there, over time you develop relationship with people.
That's true.
And it really doesn't matter where you come from. You'll always find community among people, even if they're strangers.
That's true. That's very true, actually. I just think about the different places, and then there's a connection regardless.
Yeah.
You know, when you stayed in some place for a while, then yes, for sure. Yeah, I have. So, I mean, I think about that and the different places that I've lived over time. And there's a connection, for sure.
So let's go even to our promo. Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice. Speaks directly to our program today.
Indeed. There's always a connection somewhere, and I think we should embrace those connections. The human race is a little bit too unique to not be able to make those connections and then bloom essentially where you're planted for a particular period of time.
Yeah.
All right, that's interesting. I love it. A nice way to end the week, I think.
Yeah. So I think even for those who listen to us from abroad, I mean, even when you're saying good morning to them in the West, there is always what again? Relatives.
There's always relatives in the West. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Indeed, there is. And maybe that feels like sometimes when somebody says, oh, you're going to Nairobi, do you know Charles Njoroge? And you'll be like, well, no. But please, when you go, say hi to him for me.
Yeah, true.
It's that thing. I guess that's where it comes from. That because you're going there and I know somebody there, you will then be able to connect with them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm going to Africa. Do you have lions? Yes. They walk on the streets.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And that's how we say good morning to everybody. Thank you for getting into the room. Yes, our live streams are up. I can see some of you are asking, and you've already clicked into the room very early today. So karibu sana, regardless of where you live. And Dennis just reminding us this morning. Yes, so I've lived in different places, but regardless of where you've lived, we have that connection with each other. And thank you for doing that, because this is one of the spaces where we see people tuning in from all over the country, all over the world. So it's great. Hi, SpiceFM, says Shaq Bet. Good morning to you. Desmond Uchi says, wishing quick recovery to the media personnel who got injured during the comeback yesterday. Indeed. Wishing them great health. Peter Chiari says, good morning from Mombasa. Don't just focus on what you don't have. Be thankful for all that you have been blessed with. I agree with this 100%. And a good morning to you, Peter. Saseni says, then we say? Fiti. Okay. Rose Grace is tuned in this morning and says, Ndu and Dennis tuned in from Siaya. Kenya has become Kenya. Blessed Friday. Cindy, Dr. Venvik is tuned in from Tudor in Mombasa. Isaac Hale says, good morning, and D. Looking forward to today's hot, bold, unapologetically seasoned discussion. You guys don't just stir the pot, you flip it. Let's get cooking. Indeed is a good morning. Robert Tobago is tuning from Mombasa as well. Monica Oile says, hey, Spices, thank God it's Friday. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Our sister station, Maisha, Radio Maisha. There's a guy there, his name is Rio.
Rio.
When Friday comes, Rio just becomes he flips the pot that is a true. You should see him Monday to Thursday. You would think he was a monk. Then on Friday, I don't know what happens.
Let's lose.
Rio. He's on air, but I'm just saying, you guys should meet Rio. It's crazy. But yeah. Ricardo Spice says, good morning, tuning in Kings and Queens. This is a beautiful day. Kitengela iko locked kabisa. Hisa Daniel is tuning in this morning, and he says, Njema weekend yenye fanaka. What does that mean?
Yenye fanaka. Have a good day full of blessings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michael Olanda is tuned in this morning and says, good morning, dear friends. Thank God it's Friday. Fine from 1,000 hills. You fine. Rogers Nyange says, good morning. Tuned in from Voi. Mashari and Njeri is tuned in this morning and says, Kenya's political scene is the theater of the absurd. And the beat goes on. Masharia, I see you. Duke says, good morning. Spices. Duke, good morning to you. And Karibu Sana. General Issa Mavenge is tuning from Ukunda. And he says he's locked again. Locked again is a good place to be this morning. I see the Spices are here early after being shocked yesterday. My friend, anything can happen. Kaende. One day we'll start at 4 a.m. and we'll expect you guys to be here. You never know. We go with it as it does. Yeah, yesterday was an interesting one. Ongani Malala, hello Ndu and Dennis, you people are special. The guests yesterday were fire. The conversation started at 6. Indeed, it did. Many things to discuss. True. And if anything, we'll make sure right here in this room, we will discuss them. Man P says, good morning, tuned in out of Austin in Texas. Erica War says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Eric. Nick Bala is tuned in and says, politics should be restricted to the lungs and not domiciled in the heart. I'm telling you, break your heart for no reason. Patrick Mwalimo says, good morning. Timau Outpost is where he is. Now, Dennis.
Yes.
There's a place called Timau. Have you been?
No.
I love the weather in that area. Timau, that going out in that direction. On a day like this, it'd probably be very dark until about 8 o'clock and it is cold.
You love the cold weather.
I do love the cold weather. I mean, it's not cold like your European winters because those are crazy, but it's just this nice, it's cold out there. There's a hot steaming cup of coffee and there's a warm something somewhere.
I can't relate, man. I'm struggling.
Having problems. So anyway, Timao is where Patrick is this morning, and he says we're doing 10 degrees. Nairobi, it seems really cold, but it's about 15 degrees right now. Okay, so take that down about 5 notches. That's what the folks in Timao are enjoying this morning. Happy birthday, Spice FM. It's our birthday all day, every day for the month of August. Yes, it is. Asante Sana, Patrick. Agutu Ogembo says, good morning, Team Spice. Dr. Fico is tuned in and says, I'm still baffled by the Brewing Shah scam. How do you pay millions to a non-functional health facility? How?
Just how?
Yeah, I know. And we haven't opened the Pandora box. That is affordable housing, says Duke. I know. Jimmy Munothi is tuned in. A shout out to the crew behind the scene. Shout out EVE. We see you, sister. Eric is somewhere to my right behind. Yeah. Eric Mugo, good morning. Doing the thing there. And we even greet those guys over there. Akina Joylene, Radio Maisha, Frank is there. Somebody, everybody making things happen behind the scenes. We don't take it for granted. Asante Sana. Margaret Wanjohi tuned in this morning and says, happy good... Is it me reading my own things? Let's continue the great conversation. Happy Friday and a great weekend. Jennifer Tenyu says, good morning and thank God it's Friday. Kuri Sami is tuned in as well. Christina, good morning and a beautiful weekend. Thomas Omosa is waiting for the big conversation. And tonight, Kenya plays Madagascar. Many have said it looks like it will be a walkover. This is football, my friends.
Exactly.
Let's wait and see.
Surprise.
Both teams made it to this point. Let's see what happens. The Harambee Stars have been playing some excellent football.
True.
And have been holding their own. 2 matches with one man down, and then being able to make it to the round of 16. Well done. Let's see what happens with what they do at Kasarani tonight. Good morning, Ndu and Deno. Good morning, David Mangera. George Okoh is tuned in this morning. Billions of public money are being abused. And where is EACC? They're in Integrity House.
Yeah.
Aberi Bethwell says, good morning. Ngesha is tuned in. Eliana Yabesh says, good morning, my human connection. Karibu Sana. Thomas Omosa tuned in as well. And Vincent Dishu says, good morning, tuned in from Balochistan. Tindo, you know where that is?
No.
Okay, we will find it. Don't worry. Crawley, Texas is where Jesus Protect is tuned in from this morning and says, what a lovely show. Thank you so much. Jackie Onyango tuned in as well. A very beautiful granted for free as usual from Canada. Reagan Job is tuned in from Abu Dhabi. Loving the show as usual. Naka Friday feeling. Sindio? Kabisa. All our audience this morning, well done. Karibu and thank you for joining us. I want you to do something. Get onto Facebook. Tell us a nice thing this morning, even something small. Just say good morning to us. It'll be nice. Eric Mugo has his magnifying glass up this morning and he's going to be looking for 2 of you guys who we will give 1,000 shillings worth of Safaricom airtime thanks to Safaricom Home Fiber. Let's do that this morning before 7 o'clock. Sindio?
Kabisa.
2 people will be chosen. We'll give you 1,000 bob. You can talk the whole weekend and then we come back and talk again on Monday.
We need to talk over the weekend. What else are you doing?
I mean, surely 1,000 bob. We'll get it to you this morning.
Exactly.
2 of you before 7, and then we'll give another 2 after 7. We'll tell you what that is. So get onto our DMs, Facebook specifically, and talk to Eric. Tell him why, or how you're greeting us this morning. Tell us happy birthday.
For
Tell
those
us
who want to
nice.
slide into the DM and talk to us.
Indeed. So let's do that this morning, shall we? And we say a big thank you to Safaricom Home Fiber for making conversations happen. Sawa.
Kabisa.
All right. Now, let's look into the headlines. So, and then look into the stories making news today. Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard, the headline there says, a charged return. Okay. Sawa. His allies feared police would whisk him away at the airport. Instead, chaos trailed Rigathi Gachagua's convoy as hired goons lay in wait on Mombasa Road, pummeling cars with stones, robbing motorists, injuring supporters, and leaving journalists bloodied. What was billed as a triumphant return turned into a running battle of tear gas, knives, and shattered glass. A charged return as goons strike. That is what the headline reads this morning. Cleophas Malala, who is the deputy party leader of the DCP party, said, I told you yesterday that there was a plan to arrest our party leader and take him to the DCI. But apparently that didn't happen. So there was a procession along Mombasa Road and they ended up where again? That's a dream. Yeah. I don't know what happened there, but okay.
It wasn't actually pretty because I remember at around 12 when I was leaving the office, the motorcycles out. Actually, there's a lady who was waiting for a matatu outside Panari, and the motorcycles just came, stopped, robbed her, and whisked away. So it started way before even Rigathi Gachagua touched down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is unnecessary.
Yeah, unnecessary.
That's for sure. Okay. So another headline here: online shootout. Kenya, Tanzania seek Chantoni bragging rights. So this whole thing about how Kenyans have gone and they've bought all the tickets for the match where Tanzania is playing today, so that they lose home advantage. So most times when you talk about home advantage, it's not just that you are used to the pitch, it's also that your fans are in the stadium. So it would appear as though they've bought out the tickets. Very few people will be there because you buy out the tickets, it's locked online, and then you have an empty stadium because you can't double sell tickets. Yikes. And remember, one of the things about world football is that the fans make a difference for the match,
especially in home ground advantage. So
so it said that President Samia Suluhu made a statement. We don't know if that's fake news or not, or whether she did say something about that, but online shootout is what's going on tonight. Tanzania versus Kenya, Tanzania head to head, and we're looking at what will happen if they get there. All right, so we'll take a look at
the
that
fact
story.
that I saw some officials there addressing the same thing, and it's just like, if at all it didn't happen, Kenyans have not bought tickets, why bring it up in a press conference?
Yeah.
Kenyans and Tanzanians,
the war is on.
The war is on. So let's see how that goes. But Harambee Stars, wish you the very best,
Indeed, tonight. That happens tonight. The nicest judge in the world. His name is Frank Caprio. He died at the age of 88. He's been called the nicest judge in the world. Let's look at that story in a bit. School probes tutors over misconduct is happening at Loreto High School, Limuru. 2 teachers placed under disciplinary hearing and kicked off a safety review in the institution after allegations of sexual harassment. It's a thing. It's now coming in. More and more of it is being reported. How MPs worked hard to deserve their voting machine reputation. It's also a headline. And inside Ruto's fight over the anti-laundering bill is another one. Gachagua's frenzied homecoming to violent ambush on City Highway, and chaos as ex-DP's allies hit out at Ruto and Sakaja. His name's come up again. Okay, so those are some of the headlines that we're looking into today, and of course looking into the sports pages, where Lausanne is the World Athletics Championships taking place between the 13th and 21st of September in Japan. But we're also looking at the Diamond League, which is, every other weekend in different cities taking place. So the final of the 2025 Diamond League takes place tonight in preparation for the Japan World Championships in September. So it's a Swiss Diamond League. Let's see what happens as a lot of Kenyan athletes participate there. All right, so that's what it looks like in the Standard. We'll look at some of those stories in detail. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, so let's go to the Daily Nation and the headline: chaotic return. Now, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua welcomed by hundreds of supporters at JKIA. You can see Gachagua being escorted with his supporters. It seems like he's struggling, but this is at the airport. But then again, supporters face off with police who thought bid to breach barricades on restricted zones at JKIA. It was interesting to see the number of people who were at the airport, and one would ask, how did they get there? I thought, remember the last time when Kenyans were marching to JKIA and how security was tight? I don't know how Kenyans got there, but we are also being told that others actually spent the night at the airport waiting for Rigathi Gachagua.
What?
Yeah, people are interesting and committed. Now, Gachagua's motorcade pelted with stones by rowdy youth who had blocked Mombasa Road. And these also journalists, Standard Media Group journalist and Citizen and K24 were also attacked during that. And the defiant opposition group cancels Kamkunji rally, makes fairy speeches along the busy highway. And we've been talking about SHA and the mess there is in that authority. But then again, SHA sent 20 million shillings to a ghost facility. Now, when the nation team visited Nyandiwa dispensary yesterday, the gate was closed with only a cow grazing inside the compound.
Ate?
Yes.
Come again.
Yes. When nation visited Nyandiwa dispensary, The gate was closed, but only had a cow grazing in the vicinity. But it's the hospital that was sent 20 million shillings for to pay for patients who were there. So the only patient here
cow
was
moo.
Moo, yeah. Cow moo, freshen.
Inside the dispensary
compound, grazing, having a good time. As you can see, it's also green, so you'd understand why the cow was there. Yeah, and Ruto here is meeting with the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in Japan, and President Ruto says unfair lending rules hurting Africa, and addressing the plenary session of the Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Japan, the president said global financial institutions are stifling the continent's development through unfair credit ratings. That has been a conversation in Africa for a very long time, with President Ruto pushing for the restructuring of debt and loan facilities that are given to African countries. Now, why Nairobi is the second most air polluted city globally? There's a story there that talks about Nairobi. It's important to keep in mind that the average PM 2.5 concentration in 2024 for Nairobi was 14.4 grams. There's a lot of scientific jargon here, but pretty much talks about Nairobi's air quality being at risk, and how woman's bid to beat CRB put her in auctioneer's hands. That is in page 3, and state given 14 days to finish Mungai terror investigation. Remember, Boniface Mungai was taken to court over terrorism charges, and now the court has given the investigative agencies to finish up the matter within 14 days, either charge him or not.
So they've not charged him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, that needs to be thrown out the window, I think.
Yes, because you take someone to court hoping you've done investigation, but then again, we want 14 days to finish investigation before we actually charge him. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so pretty much those are the stories that are making headlines here. And proof graft allegations, House leaders tell Ruto. Now here's Junet Mohammed saying bribery allegations should be proven. So we are challenging those supporting those narrative to bring evidence to the House for the leadership to take action. You know, they said they wanted to summon the president to go give his testament to the House. So perhaps they're asking him to prove that.
That was Parliament. On Wednesday.
Yes.
You think that today they're still remembering that they want to summon the president? I'm just asking. I don't know. I don't know.
Is this where Mungai ilikuwa ni stories za jaba?
Maybe it's like Rio. It's Friday, so everything we forget about it.
Yeah.
Maybe we come back on Monday, and then it's likely that they were still serious about summoning the president to give his evidence. That'll be fun. We'll wait and see.
Yeah. Let's
look into the Star and Siasa, how Kenya Kwanza and ODM joint PG meeting backfired on Ruto Raila. Oh, okay. Bleak outlook for jobless youth as Ruto's team extends recruitment ban. So this is interesting, whereby government is supposed to create a conducive environment for certain things to happen. First of all, it's not the government's job to create jobs.
Yes.
It's not the job. What you do is that you make sure that your economy is thriving, you make sure that your development infrastructure is worth it's salt or worth its weight on paper. And so out of that is then it just starts to mushroom. You're supposed to create that environment. You don't, and jobs will come. Jobs are a byproduct of a thriving economy and thriving environment. That's a byproduct. It's like one of the byproducts of sugarcane is the sugar. Or that other stuff that we use for energy. Byproduct of oil, kerosene, what? It's just a byproduct of a conducive environment. So that this dream is looking bleak because there's a ban on recruitment should not be our focus. Our focus should be, what is that thing that you have not done that would then mean you don't have an opportunity to recruit? That's what you should be looking at. You don't treat a bacterial infection with a painkiller. A journey of hope, story of Kilifi, Rajin Vora and Revital to the world. We'll look at that also in terms of what this is doing with healthcare and research. How Gachagua political show was scuttled. That's in the big headline in the Star this morning. Yes, that's what it looks like. The Nairobian, you have it.
Nairobian, yes. Hapa tuko na story nyingi sana kwa Nairobian. And we start with justice for marathoner. Intersex athlete Chepkosgei harrowing ordeal ends in 1 million shillings court award. There's a matter that was taken to court in terms of intersex, and the lady here that we're talking about went through a harrowing ordeal as she was being told to strip naked just so they could ascertain her gender, and in that matter she won 1 million shillings compensation.
I'd say that's not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough
because intersex is not your choice.
Yes,
it's a physiological, biological issue. You didn't choose it. You didn't decide this is the direction I'm going. So what do you do? I think 1 million shillings is not enough.
And I think even with that now, I think the most important part to look at it is how then the respective agencies formulate a policy or a guideline on how to handle such matters, so that you respect people's privacy. And Roy's Rao Tycoon's family in burial stalemate, and heroes who rescue game from deadly poachers traps, and debutants on fire starts driving Kenya's change. Alafu, Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives Oparanya's wife denies split rumors. Mary Biketi, the glamorous panel of cooperatives and MSME's Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya has denied claims that she has been dumped. Mary fired back, saying that she still resides in a beautiful leafy estate and busy on real projects in Trans Nzoia. Nyinyi mnasema tumeachana, but sisi tuko pamoja. Tuko pamoja. Pamoja. Tuko pamoja kama umoja ya Kenya.
Okay, so let's look at we'll just pray for you. That's the best we can do at this point. We'll pray.
It's okay. I mean, Bishop is not here today.
That's the only issue. If not, it would have been okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me tell you the story about, obviously, because we know that Kenya plays Madagascar tonight. And, of course, the Chan games have taken everybody by storm. So there's an online shootout in addition to what's happening on the pitch tonight. The African Nations Championship is a beautiful football tournament on paper. But in East Africa, it has transformed into something more explosive. This is a story by Kipsang Joseph and Robert Abongo. For the entire month, Kenyans and Tanzanians have been deeply embroiled in online banter following the exemplary performance of the Harambee Stars and Taifa Stars. It's interesting that they're both called stars. Okay. From streets of Nairobi to coastal shores in Dar es Salaam, the main question is no longer who will win the tournament, but who owns East Africa's bragging rights as far as football is concerned. A full-blown sporting and traditional rivalry has played out online as it has on the pitch. In a tournament they are co-hosting with Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania have defied all odds to top their respective groups and qualify for the quarterfinals. So true, the position that Kenya holds right now as top of the group is also the same position that Tanzania holds as top of their group. And they've both defied all odds to top their groups to qualify for the quarters. It's the round of 16. The competition, reserved exclusively for locally based talent, has not only attracted football fans to stadia, but also generated heated online exchanges among fans. One could argue that the banter exploded during the final group stage matches between August 16th and 17th, as Tanzania settled for a barren draw with the Central African Republic, while Harambee Stars edged Zambia 1-0. Many Tanzanians have been hoping and praying for Kenya to finish second, setting up a blockbuster clash. But Tusker FC striker Ryan Ogam's winning shot secured Kenya's top spot in Group A, eventually dodging their neighbours while further fueling the rivalry. Benny McCarthy's men had already defeated the Atlas Lions, drawn with Angola, and overcame DR Congo earlier in the group, maintaining their unbeaten status in an impressive campaign so far. So the former Bafana striker added more heat to the fire by aiming a well-calculated jab. And he said, Tanzania will get what they wished for, and they will experience what we experienced and in the group of death. I want feedback after the game against Morocco. Good luck to Tanzania in the next round. So McCarthy thought his comments would fade away quietly, only to rile up Tanzanians with younger SC spokesman Ali Kamwe, who came out guns blazing to defend their national team. The fiery Kamwe tore holes into Kenya's football pride, issuing a response to the South Africans' comments. And he said, McCarthy says they played in the group of death against Angola and DR Congo. He will see what Madagascar has in store for them. If Kenya really wanted to play against us, they would have never scrambled for a winning goal against Zambia. The difference between Kenya and Tanzania is like heaven and earth. Kenya plays for money, we play for pride. I'm just reading what they said. That's what Kamwe said. Yeah, so coaches are spitting out at each other. And then as that happened, the whole of the Bill Gates internet went crazy. And they said, what? We'll show you. So whether that story is true of whether or not they bought out tickets at the Julius Nyerere Stadium is another question. And whether the pitch, or rather the stadium, will be empty as Tanzania plays tonight, we'll see. But this is another rivalry, and it's showing itself on the pitch.
I think it's interesting banter, especially when it comes to matters of football. I mean, it's a game of counter attack here and there, you know, because there's what McCarthy said, and for a very long time, actually, Kenya was in the group of death across board. It was considered to be the group of death, and Kenya got in as the underdogs, and against all odds, emerged top of that group, and with Tanzania hoping that Kenya would come second so that they play in Tanzania, and Kenya managing to come top of group of death. I mean, Tanzanians were beaten at that expectation to begin with, but then again, also you can't wish away who Morocco is, especially in this in this competition. So then again, will they manage to beat Morocco? Only time will tell.
Let's see.
We have Madagascar. According to Tanzanians, Madagascar is also not a walk in the park. So will Kenya manage to beat Madagascar? We wait and see. But the banter that is ongoing, I think it's for me it's good. Let's just see if we'll maintain it moving forward, and maybe the Ujamaa will be extended.
I wish the point count was different. But that's just the way football is. That we get now to the round of 16 where it becomes a knockout stages. You have to have, somebody has to win. You get to the top of the group, and then you get into the round of 16, and then you could lose and go home, literally, after working so hard to get to the top of the table. And you get to this round, and we'll go to full time at 0-0 or at a draw, but somebody's got to win. And we'll knock it out with penalties if we have to. But I wish that the round robin would be played through to the end. But how else would we gather the points? It'll be an interesting showdown, because now is when we get into what the football really then means in terms of getting into these last rounds.
And I think as well, as we look at what the game has done to elevate the status of the local footballers, you know what I mean? I mean, the world is literally watching. And through that, we'll see big deals coming from these footballers. And whether Kenyans are paying for money or not, I mean, if the government of Kenya decides to reward its players, there's no problem. Question is, ninyi yenu iko ama mambo imechemka?
There could be a whole conversation about whether these Harambee Stars are playing for money, or if we are actually seeing a time where football as a sport and as a profession has been so well developed that you have these players who are then playing for pride and country, but also for professionalism. So I mean, it's a question you can argue about it all day, but that's why we talk, isn't it? All right.
Alafu, there is this story of the cow. We read it, kidogo?
Let's go.
So when the Daily Nation team arrived at the hospital yesterday, so which hospital are we talking about? We're talking about Nyandiwa Health Center. The gate was closed and only a grazing cow was in the deserted compound. Now, the grass had, however, been freshly cleared, though some overgrown vegetation was still evident around the L-shaped yellow-painted stone building with blue roof. It was ghostly building with metallic blue doors, shut, black paint peeling from the skirting around the wall, and the emptiness inside the visible from the glass windows. This is Nyandiwa Health Center in West Kamagak Ward, Homa Bay County, which has been abandoned for how long again? 10 years.
Wow.
10 years. Wow. So yet the Social Health Authority wired 20 million shillings to this hospital this month. On paper, Nyandiwa Health Center treated patients and submitted claims to the authority for the reimbursement. Apart from the substantial disbursement, SHA allocated 10,008 shillings to the health center. The Ministry of Health still lists as operational. According to an official August 2025 disbursement schedule obtained by the Daily Nation, SHA wired 19,998,720 to Nyandiwa Health Center. Official records at the ministry shows that the health center has an admission capacity of 9. On SHA's website, the health center was licensed by the Kenyan Medical Practitioners and Dentist Council in 2024 under permit GK 013891. So the clinic you're talking about has been not operating for 10 years.
Mhm.
So if we talk about 10 years, that is 2005. Yet Shah sent 20 million shillings to this hospital. Question is, if you look at the Shah offices in Homa Bay County, were they aware that this clinic is not existing, it does not operate? And if that was the case, then how come money was wired to this facility? Who is playing these monkey games?
Come on, Dennis. Somebody stole 20 million shillings and said that they sent it to a hospital. And so then when you get to the hospital, it's actually a barnyard because there is a cow there eating grass, happily mooing away. And if you didn't go there, you would have never known. You would have been none the wiser about what's going on. I mean, it's the theatre of the absurd that a dispensary, which, remember, in this day and age, should be providing primary care at level 2, level 1, level 2, is then providing hay to a cow. This is what we're talking about. And it sounds ridiculous, but if that is it a word? Ridiculosity.
Yes,
is it a word? It is.
It is.
That we get to the point whereby you just double click. You don't even have to go far. You actually go visit the place to which 20 million shillings has been sent. Ask yourself what, in terms of healthcare, 20 million shillings could do in terms of delivering primary care. That you have running water in a facility, that somebody goes there, can get stitched up, can get primary medication, can do simple procedures, which is what a dispensary is meant to do. But we joke around with this thing so much. Somebody's gotten 20 million shillings richer by stealing, and then we have a cow. Literally, we have a cow sitting in a place that should be saving lives. That's how ridiculous it's gotten. And that, yes, we can laugh about it because it is absolutely bizarre. But when you're on the flip side of it, what are we doing?
You see, when you talk about these, the county director of the public health, Amos Dulo, who serves as the Shah focal person, admitted that the health center shut years ago.
But is receiving money in this financial year.
In this financial year. So which begs the question, this focal person, one would assume that as this money was being disbursed, he was aware that this money, because he's the focal person for Shah in Homa Bay County. And asked under what circumstances the hospital got 20 million shillings, Dulo said Shah cited a clerical error.
Oh, they shouldn't have gotten the money.
Yeah.
But they did.
They did.
So have they returned it?
Yeah.
They returned the money?
Nope. I asked the same question and was told that it was an error and that the 20 million shillings has been rewired to Nyandiwa Level 4 Hospital, which confirmed receiving the amount. But that notwithstanding, if you look at the clerical error that is being accused here, one would assume that if this facility is not operational, even the system, the registration certificates that mandates this facility to operate would indicate that. But you go to the authority that actually gives the certification, gives the licenses to operate, actually registered this facility to operate, which then leads us to the next question. Who is this person that took advantage of this hospital to get 20 million shillings? Because just telling us it was a clerical error does not explain why that error even happened in the first place.
Okay.
But then again, look at 20 million shillings in a health facility in Homa Bay County, in Nyandiwa, and how many people would have benefited from healthcare services offered here.
I can't. Okay. Parliament, hi.
Hi.
There's a job to be done. Seriously speaking, perhaps that's what we need to be focusing on. This nicest judge in the world, this story, let's tell you what it is. A U.S. celebrity judge and social media star Frank Caprio has died aged 88, his family said. Over a 40-year career in Rhode Island, he famously used compassion and humor to make judgments that took into consideration the personal circumstances of people in the dock. Videos of George Caprio presiding over cases on his hit TV show Caught in Providence have billions of views on social media, earning him the title, the nicest judge in the world. His death following a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer was announced on his official Instagram account, where he was remembered for his warmth and unwavering belief in the goodness of people. Caprio had presided over thousands of cases in his hometown of Providence, Rhode Island, before embarking on a TV career. His signature courtroom style produced viral clips ranging from his inviting children to sit with him behind the bench during cases to announcing a mini judge soft toy of himself. A TikTok video showcasing his morning routine, brushing his teeth, signing his book and watching videos of his own show has had more than 5 million views. In a 2019 interview, Judge Caprio said his courtroom proceedings show a slice of life of Rhode Island that is very interesting and reflects the same issues people are experiencing nationwide. Yeah, a nice story, and may his soul rest in peace.
Judge Caprio was just an amazing human. You know, you would watch it's Judge in Providence.
Yes.
You know, you would see how he would welcome children to make judicial decisions on their parents, you know, and even those who are given fines. He had a foundation, I think, that was registered under his mother's name that would then come in and even pay fines for individuals who are found on the wrong side of the law. Others would just tell court, I was speeding because I was taking my wife to hospital and there was no way I was going to wait on the red light. I had to rush to the hospital. And the judge would just say, you had reason to go over the red light, and on that basis, you're free to go. Good human being.
Good human being.
Good human being.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Time to share another one?
Yeah. So there's this story on page 22 of the Nairobian that talks about the disability in the country and how there is need to just go beyond just putting up ramps, but need to ensure that there's also the need to include encouraging those with disability to enjoy life for what it is. So true inclusion lives beyond policies. It's in whether someone can enter a club, go on a date, or speak without pity. However, despite Kenya having strong disability laws on the ground, stairs still block access, stairs still shame bodies, and stigma still wins. On a cold Friday evening in Nairobi, Joseph Mumo walked into a cocktail event he would later describe as one of the most unforgettable nights of his life. A communications consultant and seasoned corporate MC admits he entered the venue with some hesitation. This wasn't just any networking event, it was party dedicated to persons with disability. And he says, I was a bit skeptical about how the night would go. I had never been in a room full of differently abled people, and one can be a bit dubious. But the night unfolded in ways he had never imagined. The formal speeches ended, the music began, and suddenly the room became alive. Wheelchairs became dance machines, laughter filled the air, and people danced, flirted, and lived freely.
Wow.
It is a question of, when you look at people with a disability, there is always the stereotype that has been placed. They can't do this. They're unable to do this because of their physiological nature. But here's a question where doors have been opened for them. You want to enjoy your music, get in, dance. You want to be on the runway. We can see here a lady on the runway, on the wheelchair, and having a good time. So it is just a conversation of everyone changing their perspective on who people with disabilities are and allowing them to just thrive. I think this is a beautiful story, and all of us need to jump on this.
Indeed.
You know,
I mean, disability is not inability.
Inability.
That's one of the things that we've said over time.
Yeah, and nowadays, actually, they're saying it's not a disability; it's I'm abled differently. Yeah, so that's the communication that happens, especially in these circles.
Yeah. Unfair lending rules are hurting Africa. That's the last story that we'll look at this morning. The president of Kenya has said so, and actually I agree with him. I think that this club that the world after the Second World War came and created the Bretton Woods Institution because they needed to rebuild Western Europe. They put some money aside and said, you know what, this is great. We can now put a little bit more money aside and we can start to lend it to folks, you know. So they decide who they will lend. They also decide how you can operate so they can lend the money to you. But they're unfair lending practices. I am from this side of the globe. That's one thing that President William Ruto has been saying for the longest time. We need to review it. On that, I actually do agree with the president.
Yeah.
So those conversations continue. This is one that he had when he was at the TICAD conference in Japan. And so we continue to look into these conversations, and that's actually one that we should have.
Yeah, and I think there is something that the president, African Union has been pushing for, to have, the rating agencies from Africa to determine how our economies are working. And I think that's a step in the right direction as well.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what it looks like this morning. We're getting around to 7 o'clock. I'm looking for Norbert Ayenda and Samburu from Samburu Lodge, and Alex Luyo Arara from Huisero. 1,000 shillings of Safaricom airtime for you this morning, courtesy of Safaricom Home Fiber. Eric is going to talk to you. Get into it, guys. We'll tell you some more about how some more airtime you can get after 7. Good morning, 7 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. More bodies are today expected to be exhumed from shallow graves in Kwambinzaro village, Kilifi County. On Thursday, 5 bodies believed to be followers of an offshoot of the outlawed Good News International Church were exhumed from the shallow graves. The exhumation exercise, led by homicide detectives, forensic experts and pathologists, uncovered 27 mass graves, raising fears that more bodies could be buried in the area. His government pathologist, Dr. Richard Njoroge.
We managed to exhume 6. Of the 6 graves, we found 5 bodies, and then also around that area, we found 10 different scattered body parts, scattered in different places on the surface. So we are remaining with 21 graves, for which the exercise will continue until we finish the exercise. Now, we expect also to find more graves because we have not exhausted the search, because the area is very, very vast. So we expect more bodies.
Police say 11 people have links to the latest cult and are under investigation for their alleged involvement in organized crime, radicalization and terrorism and murder. MPs are expected to meet with Chief Justice Martha Koome and other senior judicial officers as their third leadership retreat in Mombasa enters the final day. They will deliberate on strengthening cooperation while respecting the independence of both arms of government. On Thursday, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula criticized President William Ruto over recent accusations that some parliamentary committees were soliciting bribes. Wetangula said the attacks were allegations that are yet to be verified, emphasizing that MPs can gain public trust through integrity.
Best executed roles are without impact, and without integrity, leadership means nothing. It fails. Honourable members, the question of integrity is therefore not a choice of what is convenient, but a choice of what is right. As leaders, we must lead from the front by upholding integrity in our different roles, and in this regard, in executing your roles as chairpersons of committees.
National Assembly Minority Leader Junet Mohammed called on Ruto to prove the bribery claims, while the Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah emphasized the need for leaders to focus on service delivery.
The person who's bringing the allegations must come with a proof. The burden of proof belongs to the person who is coming up with allegations. He who alleges must come with proof. That's all.
We are now at cruise altitude or cruise mode, and we must maintain the momentum as the destination is fast approaching in 2027. And it's for these reasons, Honorable Speaker, why we are here today as leaders to renew our synergy as we work together to deliver for the people of Kenya.
About 1,000 families have been displaced after Lake Naivasha and Lower Nzoia irrigation canal burst their banks following heavy rains. In Naivasha, the most affected are residents of Kihoto Estate, where tens of homes, schools and churches have been submerged in the last 1 week, with fears that the numbers could rise in the coming days. these people live in the area.
Shida kubwa ambayo tuko nayo ni kwa sababu mito mingi ambayo inateremsha maji Naivasha imekuwa blocked.
Tumekuwa na shida sana, ni kwa sababu for one, wakati yale maji yanakuja yanaathiri manyumba. Mkiangalia ni ya kwamba inabidi tubebe watoto kwa migongo ili kuwatoa kwa maji wakati wanaelekea shuleni. Kai maji kipande kuna uchafu mingi, ni kwa ajili choo zimejaa, nayo maji ambayo tunatumia ni ya mashimo, kwa hivyo yamefurika. Kwa hivyo mnaona ile shida inaweza kuwa na ile mkurupuko wa magonjwa.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said he's instructed negotiations to begin for the release of all remaining hostages and an end to the war in Gaza on terms acceptable to Israel. Netanyahu told Israeli troops on Thursday night that his cabinet had also approved plans for a massive assault on Gaza City in the north of the territory, despite widespread international and domestic opposition. Hamas agreed to a proposal drawn up by Qatari and Egyptian mediators for a 60-day ceasefire on Monday, which, according to Qatar, would see the release of half of the remaining hostages in Gaza. But responding for the first time, Netanyahu has not accepted the deal currently on the table. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice. When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people, and we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing politics of conmanship, and even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Imabo, utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, coming in at 9 minutes after 7 o'clock, this is the Situation Room. It's Kenya's biggest conversation this Friday morning. And we're getting into a Healthy Friday conversation. We'll do that in just a bit. Mm-hmm. And 1,000 shillings of airtime. Can you talk for 1,000 shillings? I am sure that there are some people who can. Mm-hmm. I have an auntie. Okay. There are people who can talk for 1,000 shillings. So we want to give that to you this morning. Tell us what was the thing? Tell us the different levels of your Safaricom home fiber. What each level, gold, bronze, silver, gold, what they offer you in terms of Mbps. Let us know what that is. Eric is on the hunt, on the prowl this morning. Let us know let us know what that is. And 1,000 shillings Safaricom airtime could be yours thanks to Safaricom Home Fiber. We'll let you know who those two folks will be later on as Eric finds you. But in the meantime, you're still promising us something for 9 days.
Yes, when you talk about what 1,000 shillings can do for you, you can talk endlessly. But then again, let's talk about what a reliable home fiber from Safaricom can do to you. We're talking about, first of all, getting these home fiber connection at 25% discount. And this cuts across all the plans. So we talk about bronze, silver, gold, and diamond at 25% discount. And this is happening during the month of August. So we have 9 days to go because it is ending on the 31st of August. But when you talk about speeds and reliability, we're talking about your ability to be able to attend class if you are online classes, if you are streaming your music, watching your movies, if you are into connections, what to FX, you want reliable internet, Safaricom Home Fiber will give you that plus more. So when we talk about connections, these bundle comes with free router, free installation, and free maintenance. And even when the network goes down, Safaricom will send you 5 GB of data that you get to use. Remember, this option and this deal is for all the new subscribers. How do you get to that? Dial *400# or go to My Safaricom app and connect at the comfort of your home or wherever it is you go. And Safaricom Home Fiber feels good to be where?
It feels good to be home. Indeed, definitely. All right, we're getting into a Healthy Friday conversation this morning, as we normally do on Friday, and necessary for us to look at some of these things that affect our health, because we don't want to be living in a space with dis-ease. But even if we do have it, we need to find out how to make ourselves as comfortable as possible. Dr. Eric Njenga is a consultant diabetologist.
Yes.
Well, I did not know it existed. Okay. With the Okoh University Hospital. He's here with us this morning. Good morning, Dr. Ari.
Morning to you.
Karibu sana. Sydney Joroge is also here this morning. He's living with type 1 diabetes. Good morning, Sydney.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Karibu sana. Thank you for being in the Situation Room this morning, in the hot seats of the Situation Room, talking about a condition that many people are affected by, living with, but then also a lot of people living with, affected by, and have done nothing about it. So we're going to get into that this morning. Let's just start off with the fact that we did not know that there was something called a diabetologist.
Okay.
So obviously you're very specific in this practice, because it is specifically for diabetes that you practice.
Yes.
Okay. Let's start from the very beginning. Tell us.
Okay, good.
Diabetes, what is it?
So thank you for having us here. So my name is Dr. Eric Njenga, a consultant physician. So actually the correct term is, or broader term I'd say, is endocrinologist.
Yes.
So I start from that, and that is the study of hormones. So our body requires hormones. Hormones are specialized proteins that are produced from various glands, which help us regulate various body processes. So one of those glands is the pancreas. It produces a hormone called insulin. But remember, you can have other glands, for example, the thyroid gland, which can produce your thyroid hormone, which plays a very key role. And there are several other glands like parathyroid. So broadly, we study hormones as endocrinologists. But the bulk of our work definitely is diabetes. And that's why now we have the term diabetologists. So most of us are called endocrinologists, but we zero in on a condition called diabetes, because that probably accounts for around 80% of the work that each of us does daily.
Okay.
So first we start, what is diabetes? So today's focus is type 1 diabetes, but it's good to understand that there are several types of diabetes, and in fact now the classification is expanding, and we now actually have 5 recognize new classifications of diabetes, but we'll go over the main types as the basics.
Okay.
So the commonest type of diabetes that we see is in adults, and we call that type 2 diabetes. And this is normally a lifestyle disease. So normally comes hand in hand with hypertension. So the two are conditions that are commonly diagnosed together. And what do you mean by lifestyle diseases? These are normally diseases that are caused by how we live our lives in terms of, do we exercise? Are we watching our weights? What do we eat? Smoking, alcohol use, substance abuse. These are all contributing factors to lifestyle diseases. And we are seeing more and more of these conditions, like diabetes, hypertension, occurring at a much earlier age. So, for example, it's not unusual for someone to come to my clinic, maybe undergoing a routine insurance evaluation for a new job, maybe at the age of 28, and they come diagnosed with diabetes at the age of 28 or 30. So what previously we thought was a condition occurring at the age of 60 is now a condition being seen much earlier. So 80%, roughly to 90% of all the cases that we deal with are type 2 diabetes cases. There are 600 million people now globally estimated to be living with diabetes in the world. So it is a major health problem. It's the largest single disease rising pandemic that we're dealing with right now. And then from there, we have what is called type 1 diabetes. That's commonly seen in children. So an easy way to think about it is when you hear type 1, it's children and adolescents. Type 2 is normally older people, but remember the age is getting much, much younger. We have in between type 1 and type 2 because there are people who come to me and at times is that we're not able to make the distinction. Are you truly a type 2 or are you a type 1? Because with rising obesity, we are seeing pediatric obesity is a very big problem now. So we are seeing people being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at much younger ages. So currently on record, the youngest type 2 diabetes individual is 2 years. So remember there are other causes that could lead to what is called pediatric obesity, and these are genetic causes. So, but if we keep having children who are overweight, then we see diabetes occurring at much, much younger ages, 20, 25. So it can happen.
Okay.
But normally we say below 20, and these children, it's very typical. Type 2, we are looking about obesity, okay? That's someone who is overweight with an increased body mass index. But type 1 are your typical children, and they can be diagnosed anywhere after birth. We normally give a cutoff of around 20, max 25 years of age. So this is a completely different scenario. So let's explain the difference between type 1 and type 2.
Okay.
Type 2, like we said, you gain weight, you start to develop fat, especially around the abdominal region. This makes it very difficult for insulin to work. Insulin is a hormone produced by the pancreas. The role of insulin is to help move your blood sugar from the bloodstream into your cells. So whatever food you eat, it's broken down in your stomach, in the small intestines into simple sugars. These sugars must move from your bloodstream now into your cells to help you carry out your day-to-day activities. So energy.
Okay.
Yeah, so you need energy to work. Your cells need energy to repair themselves, growth and development for someone who is an adolescent, for example. So muscles for them to be able to perform their activities, coordination. So that's what insulin does. So it binds onto a cell, a receptor on the cell, then it causes some gates to open up into the cell, and sugar can now move from the bloodstream into the cell, helping that cell have energy for all its day-to-day processes. So when you have fat tissue acts as a blockade of sorts. It's the same analogy. Insulin, we think of it as a key. So the cell is a room that you're sitting in, for example. Okay. You have a door. So for us to get into this particular room, we require to use a key to open the door through the keyhole, then we can all get in. That's what insulin does. So what fat tissue does, it acts, think about sticking a chewing gum on the keyhole, and you completely occlude that entry for the key into the keyhole. That's what fat tissue does. It makes it very difficult for insulin to work, and that's what we call insulin resistance.
All right.
And that's what happens in type 2 diabetes. So central fat blocks the entry of sugar into the cells because it interferes or affects the action of insulin.
Okay.
Now, let's go to type 1 diabetes. That's very, very different. So here now it's a child who grows up normally, but may have some genes that can predispose the individual to developing the condition. And at times it could be the environment. So for example, you can develop a flu, for example. And so viral infections, we've seen there's some viruses that have been linked to the development of type 1 diabetes. For example, CMV, that's cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, or even measles, mumps. So measles and mumps are common conditions that can actually trigger the formation of abnormal antibodies.
Okay.
Antibodies are good, so normally they help us fight infection. So when you're vaccinated as a child, you have antibodies in your system which you stay with for life, which will help you fight infections. You don't get pneumonia, you don't get conditions such as typhoid. We have several vaccines that can be given. So BCG and all these other vaccines, hepatitis. So when these antibodies are introduced into your body through a vaccine, they stay with you for life.
Okay.
But your body also forms natural antibodies. Whenever you get infections as a child, say chickenpox, you got chickenpox as a child, you develop lifelong immunity because your body produces these very essential proteins called antibodies that will protect you for life. You cannot get chickenpox again. Yeah. Now what happens, sometimes that kids get these infections, mumps, measles, then they form abnormal antibodies. These antibodies, instead of doing what they're supposed to do, protect you from future infections, they can go and attach onto certain organs and destroy those organs, okay? And they could pick any organ. So antibodies can pick the joints, for example, and you get rheumatoid arthritis. They could pick your thyroid, for example, and you end up getting hypothyroidism. That means that your gland cannot produce enough hormone, or you can produce excess hormone, a condition we call hyperthyroidism. They could pick your skin, and you could get skin conditions. So you have conditions like lupus, for example.
Okay.
Which lupus now can affect the skin, can affect the joints, and can affect literally any organ in your body. And these are all triggered by antibodies. In the case of diabetes, they go and zero in on the pancreas, and they destroy the pancreas. And it takes a very short period of time. And 90% of the pancreas is completely destroyed by these antibodies. Once that happened, then the pancreas cannot perform its key function, which is to produce insulin. So, how does a child present? So, when you don't have insulin in your body, then you start to have certain symptoms. Common ones include, first is fatigue. You start to lose a lot of weight. So, let's talk about children, for example. The common symptom that they get, excessive fatigue, drastic weight loss. This occurs in a very short period of time. We're not talking about losing weight over 6 months. Even in a month, a child can easily drop 10 kilos.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
They start to have problems with their vision. They start, if they are not wetting their bed before, all of a sudden a child at 12, 14 starts to wet the bed. Very frequent urination. So it affects their school because every 10, 15 minutes they tell the teacher, could I please go to the loo? Performance starts to drop. When a child was top of the class, all of a sudden, because it causes mental fatigue, it causes fatigue as well as mental slowing.
Okay.
So the child is very tired, cannot do his homework up to 9 p.m. You find he's falling asleep in the class. Mental fog, slowing down of brain activities, so they cannot concentrate as much as well as they could concentrate before. They can't see the blackboard well now. So you start to notice a decline in their performance. If they have any wounds, poor wound healing, very frequent colds, frequent urinary tract infections are some of the common things that we see.
Okay, so they're not born. You're not born with this condition.
You're not born with the condition.
You're not born with the condition.
Yeah.
But because we see the destruction to the pancreas over time, then you cannot produce this much needed insulin.
Yes.
And so with the destruction over time that's why the child will be fine.
Yes.
But then as they grow older, we start to see some of these things.
Yes, and then we're talking about a very short period of time.
All right.
So that's why type 1 diabetes is a dramatic disease, and usually it's not. The mother will actually come and tell you this is what has happened to my child.
Okay.
So as compared to type 2 happens over several years. You can actually walk around for 5 years with a blood sugar that is high and not have any symptom. So for type 2, that's why they're called silent killers. Hypertension, diabetes are silent killers. They develop slowly over time, over several years before they manifest. By the time they manifest, you've already lost 50% of your pancreas in type 2. Okay? And that's why we advocate for early screening for all people. I'd say anyone above 20 should get their blood sugar, blood pressure checked twice a year. For children, this destruction occurs very, very quickly. Like I'm saying, they have that episode of mumps, measles, and that's why the highest prevalence of type 1 diabetes is commonly seen in countries that experience long winters. So the Scandinavian countries, if you look at Finland, Norway, they are the highest prevalence countries. And they see that there's a correlation between long winters and development of type 1. Okay. So when this destruction happens, it's very quick, and that's why we tend to have these symptoms being quite dramatic. And it's very important for people to recognize if a child is developing these symptoms. Key ones, like we said, weight loss, excessive urination, frequent infections, visual blurring, excessive fatigue, bedwetting, then that should prompt them to get their blood sugar checked. Yes.
Okay. So for you, Sydney, tell us how you started to feel, and how old are you now, if you don't mind telling us?
Oh, right now I'm 24 years old.
Okay. So give us a little bit of what you started to experience and at what age.
Okay, so I was diagnosed when I was 12 years old. First symptoms that I had, just as Dr. said, there was frequent urination, loss of weight, the fatigue.
Frequent was how frequent urination?
Like in a night, twice. So like from head to toe, your whole bed, and it was on a daily basis. And you don't know what's causing it. So, and then the fatigue. So it was very hard to concentrate during class time. Constantly tired, the loss of weight. So we just went for a checkup, the blood sugar checkup, and that's when we discovered that it was high. Actually, when they tested, the machine didn't even record. It just wrote HI. It should measure.
It should measure.
It should measure.
Okay.
But it brought HI. That means it's too much. The machine can't even record the amount of sugar that you have. So that's when we went to Aga Khan, and that's how it started.
At 12 years.
So I just want to, it's very important what he said, that the machine could not record. So I think maybe an important point for us to start is, what is a normal sugar? So let's start with that first. So if you, let's say I had dinner at 8 o'clock last night, I wake up in the morning, every person, regardless of age, their sugar should be less than 5.5. So very important figure, 5.5 when I wake up in the morning. So we say 3.5 to 5.5, 3.5 up to 5.5 is a normal sugar. Anything above 5.5, then we get concerned. So the fasting, we have between 5.6, this fasting sugar, you've not eaten for 12 hours. So between 5.6 up to 6.9, we call that pre-diabetes, okay? So if you're looking at the morning sugar. And then at any time, if your sugar is above 11.1, that automatically qualifies as a diagnosis of diabetes. So the figure is 11.1, or 11 for ease of remembering. Now, when you eat any meal, and after 2 hours you check your sugar, the normal sugar is between 4 to 8.
Okay.
So if you've had a meal, breakfast, lunch, after 2 hours you record a sugar above 8, then that's a point of concern. So between 8 to 11.1, again, we call that pre-diabetes, okay? And in the morning, we said it's between 5.6 to 6.9, that is pre-diabetes. Now, when you have a sugar that is unrecordable, what he's saying about the machine, what the device that we use to measure sugar is called a glucometer. That can measure sugars up to a value of 33 millimoles per liter. That's the unit that we use. So it means that your sugar that day was beyond 33, which is very high. So if you're talking about, if I check your sugar now, have you had breakfast, yes or no?
Yes.
You've had breakfast. So if you had breakfast and you count 2 hours, I expect you to be sitting below 8, okay? So his sugar was 33 and above. So you think about that's 4 times the upper limit, yeah? The third measure that we use is a test called HbA1c, which is what we use to monitor their progress in the clinic. We check it every 3 months. The normal value should be less than 5.7% for that. Then between 5.7 up to 6.4, that's called pre-diabetes. Any value of 6.5 and above is diabetes. So to recap, if you fasted for 8 hours and you wake up in the morning and check your sugar and it's equal to or more than 7, you have diabetes. And it only takes a single reading. If you've had a meal and you wait for 2 hours and you check your sugar and it's above 11.1 or is equal to 11.1, that is diabetes. Or at any point during the day, regardless, even if you check it after 30 minutes or whatever, 11.1 and above is diabetes, okay? Then a HbA1c test, which is the laboratory test that we use, if it is equal to or more than 6.5, then that is diabetes. Yeah.
So, Sydney, here is the question where you said at the age of 12.
Yeah.
So it is at the age of 12, you're wetting the bed, and at what point did it strike that we need to go to hospital? Is it something that you lived with for a while before deciding to go to hospital? Or is it that the first time it happened, it was a concern and folks decided, let's go to hospital?
Okay, so I didn't know what it was. So my mom is the one who got concerned because it was happening on a daily basis. So she's the one that decided we need to go and check what's up with this, what's happening. Because she thought, or we thought, that it was maybe because I'm drinking maybe lots of fluids before I go to bed. So that's what we were thinking. Then I stopped, but it didn't stop. So that's when we decided to go and have a check. Yeah.
You see, Daktari, the reason I ask that question is because most of the time when a child wets the bed, the first thing is don't be drinking water before you go to bed. You know, don't be having tea before you go to bed. But you see, this is by the time it strikes a parent that we need to go to hospital, perhaps the intervention that was needed, it has taken quite a long time. Which then brings the conversation on health-seeking behavior and perhaps even parents understanding what are the triggers in the life. Because you've mentioned measles, you've mentioned mumps, and I remember when I was young, these are things I had. You know, I remember having mumps and measles.
We all transitioned through that.
You know, we all transitioned into that. But then again, you see, if that is the first trigger point that there is, perhaps if parents had this information, it's something that they would act on easily and faster. So then how do we ensure that this message now gets out there and that we all are aware on what to look out for? Do we see health-seeking behaviors changing over time?
So very, very important point. In fact, this is what happens in most scenarios, and that's why I think awareness is a very important thing. So a child who was previously fine starts to wet the bed. So let's just think about it practically. You know, I'm thinking about my generation. I think we are almost there. But let's see what happens. Child wets the bed. What happens? Parents punish the child. So why are you wetting your bed? And the child is, you are now, you know, look at your brother is 7 years old and is already in the bed. Why are you wetting the bed? So the child first gets punished. The child who is asking for permission to go to the loo every 10-15 minutes gets punished. The child now who all of a sudden is being asked questions and cannot see the board gets punished. So you can see these children go through a cycle where people are not understanding what's happening to this child. The child gets tortured for it, and it only takes a keen parent now to say, something's really wrong with my child. Let me go and see what's wrong. And you see, if the parent doesn't take that step, these symptoms can continue. This vicious cycle of the child, undergoing stigma and all these things become an issue. And if you don't act quickly, type 1 diabetes doesn't give you time. That's the other message. It does not give you time. When he's walking around with a sugar of 33, it's only a matter of time, talking probably weeks, that you get a very major, severe complication called diabetic ketoacidosis. What does this mean? You have very, very high sugars, okay? These sugars, remember, are now starting to cause damage to a lot of your organs, your eyes, your kidneys, and other things. But they also call the buildup of acid in your system. This acid, when it gets to a certain critical level, the child can actually go into a coma. The child can collapse at home. And if people don't recognize that this is a high sugar that is causing this complication, then the mortality is very high. Okay? Again, that child needs to be taken to a facility where the doctors in that facility will recognize this is not pneumonia, or this is not other, it's not pneumonia, it's not meningitis, it's not a child collapsing because of other reasons. They need to quickly zero in and think about checking a blood sugar.
All right.
When they see it's unrecordable, these children also need to be managed in a critical care unit. This is not something that can be managed in the ward. So again, the management protocol for diabetic ketoacidosis needs a doctor who is experienced, needs a facility with HDU services, because we tend to give the main thing that they get very dehydrated. So they need IV access immediately, replace the fluids immediately, give insulin immediately, stabilize them, and then from there they will need to be on lifelong insulin thereafter.
Okay.
So
I'd like to take a break at this point, and we're going to come back and look at treatment and management. And I know that we're talking about type 1 diabetes this morning, but then also whether we like it or not, type 2 always comes into the conversation in terms of reversibility, and then in terms of living the best life that you can,
Yes.
even with type 1. So let's look at treatment and management when we come back from this break. We're in the studio this morning on our Healthy Friday conversation with Dr. Eric Njenga, and we are looking into type 1 diabetes and how it's more than just sugar. Sydney Njeri also is here living with type 1 diabetes, and we'll talk about how then you've been able to manage that when we come back from the break. Many questions coming in. We'll try to attack some of those when we come back from this. It's 26 minutes tonight to 8. Don't go away. We'll be back after this.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your
Get ready for non-stop adventure with Star Times. Join your favorite heroes and dive into a world of fun and excitement. Enjoy endless entertainment on top kids channels like ST Kids, Jim Jam, Toonami, Da Vinci, Baby TV, CBeebies, Boing, ST Tunes, and ST Kids Plus on your Star Times decoder. All this from as low as 329 shillings per month on aerial decoders with the Nyota package, or only as low as 549 shillings per month on dish decoders with the Nova package. Recharge your subscription for 2 months and get upgraded to the next high bouquet for free. Dial star 858 hash for self-service or call 0730-710077 for customer care. This holiday, adventure begins at home. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
We're back at 25 minutes to 8 o'clock. We're having a conversation this morning around type 1 diabetes with Dr. Eric Njenga, who is a diabetologist. The wider term
endocrinologist.
That's the word. I can normally say it, but something happens when you're in front of one, actually. Sydney Njeri is also here living with type 1 diabetes. So we've heard... and we want to look into treatment and management.
Yes.
So things can get really crazy. You can go into shock. Essentially, the acidosis that you speak about essentially is your body going into shock.
Yes.
Your system, everything is now
shutting down.
It's that alarm, red bells that are going off, right? But obviously you can come back from that.
Yes.
Sydney came back from that. Did you get into a place where you were almost shutting down?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened there?
There was a period where my blood sugars were really low, and when they go low to a point where the machine reads sugars between 2 and 2.5, you'll probably faint. And if nothing is done to maybe wake you up, you'll start to experience some seizures. Seizures. So that happened to me.
How many times?
Twice now. It's happened. Good thing is I always have someone who is close. So normally we use honey. You administer honey. At times it helps in increasing the sugars before you get to an emergency room where they can administer now some sodium, but it's pretty scary.
Okay. So how before we come to actually what you administer, Dr. how did this affect your life? Because I'm imagining a 12-year-old boy, I have one, running all over the place. They only come inside when they've come to graze like cattle. Then they're back outside running all over the place. They sleep when it's night. They sleep. So how did this affect your life when you were at that age? Not playing anymore? Were you just sitting indoors? What was happening?
Okay, I wasn't sitting indoors. I was playing. It's just that I was already tired.
Even before you started?
Yeah, even before it started. So it's like I was forcing myself afterwards, forcing myself to go out play because I was really tired. But then you have that
urge,
drive as a kid where you want to be out playing, So at times I was forcing myself. So like we normally came home from school at around 4. You have homework. Normally kids at that age, you stay latest 8:30, you're asleep. But for me, by 6:30, I'm already tired. I'm done. I didn't even, most of the times I wasn't doing my homework. I come from school. I play from like maybe 4:15 to 5. When I get home, shower, I sleep. And that's it. And I can't wake up. Can't wake me up.
No matter what you did, you wouldn't wake up.
Can't wake me up. You wake me up, I tell you I'm tired, and I'm going back to bed. So that at that point, you start even quarreling with your parents because they're like, you're being disobedient, things like that. Yeah, but in real terms, you're just...
You physically cannot get up.
Yeah, you're just tired. Yeah. Then when you sleep at around 6, 7:30, and you don't have the strength to wake up, you don't even realize you're wetting the bed. You wet the bed at 7:30, you wet it then again at 9, and you don't even feel the wetness, so you don't wake up. You feel it in the following morning when you're waking up. It's when you realize, oh my God, this and this has happened, and it wasn't happening before. Yeah. Good thing was, so at the time my mom was working in a hospital, so I think she had known some of these things were happening. So she didn't bring up a big issue about it. She just wanted to know what was happening. Yeah. So that's when we went and checked. Yeah.
You see, well, when you speak like that, you remind me of a situation when I was growing up. We had this neighbor. We used to play around together. Then one day we were just chilling and we started seeing a mattress being brought outside every other day. Every other, and he was the only child. So we started asking questions like, what's up? Why is the mattress, why is it being hung outside? And we started hearing that he was wetting the bed and what, but luckily for him as well, the mom was a nurse. So it is something that was handled, hush, but now is when I'm connecting the dots. But I'd remember these boys stopped even playing with us because of the stereotype that is associated with a boy wetting the bed at the time. And if you just hear that, then brings the question on, he talked about administering sodium and whatnot. So, but after the test has been done, now you are in the hands of the doctors and there is help that is being administered to this child. What are we talking about when I come to the hospital now, when you take over, what is being done to help a patient?
Okay, good. So at the first point, like we said, the sugar is excessively high, and our primary concern at that particular point is to bring down the sugar. So in the setting of type 1 diabetes, like we said, it's an autoimmune process. That means that the antibodies have completely destroyed more than 90% of the pancreas. That pancreatic function cannot be restored. And that's why for children, there's only one treatment. And I want to make this very, very clear. For people who have type 1 diabetes, there's only one treatment, insulin. Children cannot use tablets, okay? That's another big misconception. And again, there's also common things that we asked, can type 1 become type 2? There's no interchange between the two types of diabetes. If you're type 1, it's purely type 1, because the mechanism, as I've explained, is completely different from type 2. So point of call, when we start, it's lifelong insulin. It's difficult for a mother to hear that the first time. And that's why support for these children right from the beginning is very, very crucial. That mother needs support from the community, needs support from a social perspective, needs support in terms of mental health, because it's not an easy diagnosis to hear, and to be able to walk through this child's upbringing, Sydney becoming a teenager, adolescent, preteen, going to university. Sydney is now a graduate with a BBIT degree. It's possible. Sydney has walked the journey, he's made it. But the mother requires a lot of support to help all these cogs of the wheel come together. So this is what happens. We now start insulin, okay? So now for children, again, they have to inject frequently. So they should inject with every meal. That means that they'll take insulin with their breakfast, with their lunch, and with their dinner, okay? Then they will take what is called a long-acting insulin 2 hours after their dinner before bedtime. And that's to help them keep the sugars controlled overnight, okay? The reason why we give that insulin over at night to control sugars overnight, because your body, between 4 to 9, will start to produce a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone that helps you wake up in the morning, get energy. That's what helped you wake up this morning, shower, dress, drive to the studio, and you're now running this particular show. But in people who have diabetes, that hormone release is it's exaggerated. So they release very high levels of cortisol, and that causes the liver to start dumping sugar into the bloodstream. So now this is not about food. So, and people ask when they're diabetic, my sugar was 8 when I slept, but I woke up, it was 12, and I didn't eat anything overnight. And the answer is cortisol. The hormone is released at night. It causes your liver, whatever glucose it stores, the liver is a very important storage for glucose. If you decide to play football now, to run a sprint, the energy that will help you exercise or do that particular activity will be released from the liver in normal terms. But in people who have diabetes, there's very high levels of cortisol, and now this causes the liver to release excess amount. That's why the sugar becomes very high when they wake up. That's why you need that night insulin. So it's 4 injections, okay? So you can see it's daunting for a child to inject 4 times a day. They need the proper training. The mother needs to be very cautious about monitoring the sugar. And now we come to the point about where it said the sugar was very low, okay? So now let's talk about what a low sugar is.
And you can have high and low in the same
condition.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So the highs are because of diabetes, but the lows now are a complication or a consequence of the treatment that we're giving. That's why, very, very importantly, the children must check their sugars frequently, at least 4 to 6 times a day, to avoid getting into low sugars. Because when they start injecting, this insulin we're introducing externally into the body to help bring down their blood sugar. But in case Sydney misses a meal, what will happen? That insulin is still in the body. If he doesn't snack after breakfast, for example, or if he misses lunch due to any particular reason, it can happen. Think about it. You are traveling or you're in a boarding school and lunch is delayed. Small things like those. His sugar will go to a low level. What is a low sugar? Anything below 4.
4, yeah.
When your sugar drops below 4, you start to get dizzy, you start to sweat, you start to get confused, you get disoriented, you don't know where you are. You start having a very rapid heart rate. You start feeling cold, and when it drops to those levels below 2.5, you collapse. Now, children, remember, can tolerate much lower sugars as compared to adults. So, Sydney at 12, his sugar could actually go to 1.7, and he's still alert. But for adults, when your sugar drops below 4, you will feel it, and that's what we call a diabetic coma. So it's caused by low sugars. So a dangerously low sugar is below 4. Let's start from there.
Okay.
But when it goes to below 2.5, then you you collapse and you go into a complete coma. Your brain is deprived of very vital glucose, and that's what can trigger the seizures or convulsions that Sydney got. Okay. So, and that now again has to be managed very, very quickly. So very key points here. And we see this commonly. People collapse in church, people collapse in the bus stop. And these people are diabetic, but people around them don't know that they're diabetic. So very important to just get a tag or something that can identify you as being diabetic. So if you collapse in church, school, or somewhere, people respond in the right way. Now let me emphasize this point, because a lot of people lose their lives because of bystander action. So let's think about it. When someone collapses, what is the common things that lay people do?
Rush to them.
And then do what? They crowd them, number one. Number two, what do? They give them what? They undress them, they fan them.
Yes.
I don't know why they do that, but but a very common thing people do is what? They give people water. Or soda.
Yeah.
Now what do? Someone is unconscious. Remember, for me to control my airway, to prevent, when you're drinking water, there's a reflex that prevents that water from going into your lungs.
Yes.
But when you're unconscious, you've lost that ability.
It has relaxed.
So someone will see someone has passed out, mpatie maji, mpatie soda. Someone rushes, buys a half-liter Fanta and chugs it down. Yeah. Where does that Fanta end up in? Your lungs. And what happens? You're gone. You're gone. Simple things. Laymen do it all the time. People lose their lives simply because of that. So when someone collapses, very, very important. Never, ever, ever give fluids. That would be a very important message to come out of here. Never give anyone any liquids when they collapse. If they're diabetic, Sydney mentioned honey. Take sugar or honey and put it under the tongue or on the side of the mouth. It's called the buccal. Let it seep in, because there are very many blood vessels. This area, the buccal mucosa on your cheek or under the tongue, is rich with blood vessels. Okay, so just put honey and sugar there. From there, transfer them to the nearest hospital, because what they need is now glucose through the vein, intravenous glucose. So those are very, very key things. And again, people need to recognize those signs of low sugar. And we spend a lot of time educating the parents, the caregivers, how to recognize low sugars in the children. And at some time, even they will start to notice that, I'm feeling a bit sweaty, I know I'm getting a low, and he'll check his sugar. That's it's also important to always move around with this machine called a glucometer.
So how does that work for you, Sydney? I would imagine are you pricking your skin and checking it? What happens with the glucometer?
So with the glucometer, I have pricking, like, you see.
Do you have it here?
Yeah, I have it here. So here it is. So
open it.
This is what I use to check my blood sugar. It's called a glucometer.
Yeah.
So just as the doctor said, you have to check your sugars between 4 and 6 times a day. And like for me, so I need to check it before I eat and 2 hours after. That is after I've administered my insulin. That way you get a point where you know where your blood sugars are, so that maybe if you didn't calculate, or so there's something called carb counting. So that's where you count, so the food that you have, you calculate the carbohydrates that are there. That way you know the amount of insulin that you're going to take, because you can have food whereby you're taking, let's say you've been told to take 6 units, and then you eat food that required 11 units. When you take food that requires 11 units and you took 6, you'll get a high sugar after 2 hours. So you need to check. That way you'll be able to correct your blood sugar.
Okay. You could just show us what those are. So just lift it up and
this is the machine, and these are called strips. This is what you use to check your blood sugar. This is how they look.
Okay.
So you take one of these, put it here. Then this is called a prick.
Okay. Yeah, or a lancet.
Yeah, or a lancet. So what you do, you need to sanitize over here. So normally, you need to have this, a cotton, clean one. Take this.
And also important, as long as you also just make sure you can wash your hands before, or just use sanitizer if you don't have access to cotton wool. But the key thing, ensure that at least your hands are clean. So wash your hands if you don't have access to cotton, but if you can have the glucometer, just some cotton with some spirit in it, keep it there, and then just swipe your fingertips as it's done. Then you proceed.
So you take this, then you
prick, then you press. You can see the drop of blood there.
Drop of blood?
Yeah.
So you take this and you put it here. So now this is calculating the amount of sugar that's in the body. Which is, you see, right now.
So right now it's a bit high.
It's a bit high.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why would that be? You've not had breakfast this morning, or you've had something?
I had breakfast. So
so it's very, very common. So he's had breakfast, but like he said, there's a very key thing that he said, carbohydrate counting. So it's not a very easy skill to master. It does take a prolonged period of time.
Yeah, I was going to ask how long did it take
so let's say if you have tea, if you have 2 slices of bread and tea, then the bread is 15 grams of carbohydrate. So we have a calculation system of how much insulin to give per gram of carbohydrate. Okay. So there are formulas that we use. But what we normally do, we have nurses that are specifically trained for this. They are called diabetic nurse educators, and they work with our patients to walk them through that journey of how to calculate the carbohydrate in the meal and how to match the insulin.
Okay, so
so very important. So if you see that sugar, don't panic. Okay. Because they're also trained to do what is called there's something called a correction factor. So he knows, for example, if my sugar is 17 and my target is 10, it is 7.3 above my target, and he can tell you the amount of insulin specifically that he requires to drop it back to the level.
So how many times are you injecting insulin?
So if I'm eating 3 times a day, I'm injecting insulin 3 times a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Then before bed, remember.
Before bed as well.
Yeah.
All right. So your fingers must look like a sieve. You keep poking them every day.
So let me also. So you'd think that, but actually, Sydney has been pricking his fingers from at least 6 times a day from the age of 12.
12 years.
12 years.
Yes. And if you take care of yourself with type 1 diabetes, I had a patient who came in at 68 years with type 1 diabetes. So, and they're still pricking the same finger. So, so you don't it then become a sieve.
Okay.
So, so I think that's very, very crucial is the monitoring is very, very important because each and every single day, I just want to highlight his life. He has to keep making these calculations through his day. Now, picture him in his, as you are going through campus, you have no conditions, and you're finding it hard. Now, picture yourself in Sydney's shoes where he has to calculate before breakfast. He's now probably at his lecture now. He's seen a 17.3. He has to quickly calculate what dose of insulin am I going to give myself. Maybe step outside the lecture hall or simply just inject himself. You can even do it through the clothes. So he doesn't even need to step out sometimes. Yeah, so he's now figured out our system of how to work around his day-to-day living with his condition, but he's done it. He has his degree. He's passed with his peers who don't have any medical conditions. He's competing. So you can. And I'll tell you one thing, things that people don't know. So which is the most successful football club in the world? That's how it's like starting. Well, I know this argument can go, but let's be genuinely honest. Which is the most successful football club in the world? Real Madrid. Okay. Now their defender is called Nacho, who was even captain at some point. Yes. Played for the Spanish national team. Has lived with type 1 diabetes from Sydney's age.
Playing competitive football
at the highest level. Real Madrid has won all those Champions League titles, has played for the national team. It's doable. Now we have the first licensed type 1 diabetes patient flying for Canadian Airlines. We have big movie stars like Jada Pinkett who have type 1 diabetes, living with type 1 diabetes. So technology also has evolved. And I think it's very important for us to talk about that topic. So now we have what is called continuous glucose monitoring.
Sorry, I want to ask you a question, and I think it's important because you've both mentioned it. When you in a situation whereby previous practice would be to give water, to give soda, and then you talked about the honey or some sugar. So if you're in a place or in an area whereby you've witnessed this happening to somebody or you yourself, what do you do? If you're on the Mashinani, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It could be right in the city. It doesn't, and you don't have access to this. What can you have as an alternative to remedy the situation in that instance of urgency?
So very, very important. Number one is when the person collapses, make sure people don't crowd around them. So your work as the person who's recognized this is please pull people away so that you don't have crowding, because there is the normal thing that 20 people are all crowded around this individual. Now you place them on their side, turn them, they are collapsed, you turn them. You want someone lying face up. So first turn them on their side, we call it the recovery position. And you put them on the side, you bend one knee, and you put that leg over. So one leg is straight, one knee is slightly bent. They're on the side, okay. Hands also in front of the chest, and then you also try to position their neck to ensure that it's in a position where they're not good. The risk is also the tongue rolling back and So once you've seen that, and you know they're diabetic, you want to get something that you can, sugar and honey are quite, they're good because number one, once they dissolve very quickly, okay? But the key thing, just avoid liquids. Someone needs to call for help as urgently as possible, wherever you are, or just look for means necessary to transfer that person to an emergency facility. That's the key thing. And even now, I don't know if people are aware, but there are even mechanisms of how you can activate an ambulance. We have what is called FLARE. It's a system that you can quickly call a number and it will tell you the nearest ambulance to this building is here. And from there they can be rushed to the nearest facility. But the key thing, I think the key take home, don't give any fluids. But it's sugar, honey, a glucose tablet if it's available. So you basically want a form of sugar which can dissolve very quickly. That's the key aim there.
And most of because every time, especially whenever we do our thing, when you go for these field trips, I always try to carry around the glucose with me.
Very important. Glucose tablets.
Because you never know when you need. But I just take it because I need the energy at some point because I might lose having lunch and whatnot. But here's a situation where this person has gone down. The recovery process is there. Now is a question of this is a lifetime
situation,
condition that you have to live with. You have to keep on injecting. But then again, you see, we are also interestingly living in a society where, first of all, we can pray it away. Mitishamba also works. And then there is also technology that we're talking about. The internet is there telling you if you eat, I don't know what, it will reverse the situation. So just to break it down. Is this something that can be reversed? Because it's a question that has also been asked.
So very, very important. And I'll reiterate. So type 1 diabetes is a lifelong condition, number one. Number two, the only treatment for type 1 diabetes is insulin. That means that you must inject insulin. And ideally, in the setting of type 1 diabetes, it is 4 times a day. They inject a specialized insulin called a short-acting insulin with their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, approximately 5 minutes before, if it's the newer types of insulins, or at least 15 minutes, if they're the older human type of insulins, what we call soluble insulin. Then they inject before they go to bed, and that's called a basal insulin or a long-acting insulin. That is for the rest of their lives. Type 1 diabetes is not a reversible condition because if you go back to how type 1 diabetes comes about, remember it's a autoimmune process. So the pancreas was destroyed by the antibodies. That destruction is permanent. It cannot be reversed. Okay, that's why we need to keep doing the pancreas. So we are an adjunct to the pancreas. Now we are doing the job. The insulin is injecting is doing the job of what the pancreas is doing in your body. Your pancreas is fit, healthy. It's producing insulin. His was destroyed when he was 12. It cannot carry out the role of producing insulin. So very, very important. So there's no reversibility when it comes to type 1. Reversibility may be a topic in the setting of type 2, which probably you can look for as another interview just to talk about type 2. That's a huge topic on its own. And then the key thing, lifelong monitoring. He has to use insulin for life. But now technology, what's new, what's available now in the market? We have what is called CGM, we call it continuous glucose monitoring. So these are devices that you attach. We normally put it either on the shoulder here or on the abdomen. And what it does, it takes over what the glucometer does. And it checks your sugar in real time. So every second, literally, it is checking your sugar. And the beauty about the CGM is that it starts to even warn you. For example, if sugar now is 17. So if we set limits that let's agree that your sugar during the day is between 5 to 10. And at night should be between this particular value, okay? So when you cross 10, it connects to his phone automatically via Bluetooth and alarms him that your sugar is going high, act now. Yeah? If his sugar is also going towards 4, it will warn him in advance.
Get something.
Low sugar. Alarm comes. Sugar now is 4.7. Do something now. And he knows, if he's sitting in his lecture, and my sugar is 4.7, I need to quickly get something. Now, when your sugar is dropping, you're getting the symptoms. That's when now you're awake, you're alert. Quickly grab either you can take some sweetened tea, half a cup. Grab a soda, half a cup. Grab some orange juice, half a cup. Okay. Then I check your sugar after 15 minutes. Okay. So and then you keep checking after 15 minutes until your sugar is at a safe level. Let's say above 6. Okay. So that's what technology now can do for us. It can warn him when his sugar is dropping. It can warn him when his sugar is above target, and now you can do the correction. Now, these devices are available in Kenya, but they're not cheap. So on average, per month, it's going to cost you. You'll get a sensor. That sensor needs to be changed twice a month, and it'll cost around 28,000 per month. So it's not cheap.
It's not cheap.
We also have what is called an insulin pump, which tries to, we call it an artificial pancreas. It tries to do what the pancreas does. So the cost is around 600,000 for a new pump. Not affordable by many.
Indeed.
And per month, the pump supplies also will cost you around 40 to 50,000 a month. So again, out of reach. But I just want to end with this very, very key point. We're very blessed in this country that type 1 diabetes care is absolutely free. And we're even more blessed that the insulin that is used in the US and Europe is available to our children for free. So the same insulin that would be used by Nacho Fernandez playing for Real Madrid, biggest football club in the world, is available in Kenya through what is called the Changing Diabetes in Children Initiative. This is a program run by the Diabetes Management Information Center. We are in all the public facilities. Any child who has diabetes, please, I'm sending the word out there. We are currently supporting over 3,500 children through our projects. They get free insulin, free glucometers, free strips, free medical checkups, up to the age of 25, okay?
That's amazing stuff.
So, free of charge. Diabetes Management Information Center. We hold our walk. We just held our walk in July. And we also have a golf tournament that also we host every February. But the key thing, at least, we are very privileged. We actually have the highest survival rate in Africa.
In Kenya.
So Kenya is number 1.
In Africa.
Because of this particular project that is funded by a company called Novo Nordisk and the Danish government. So we are very lucky that these things are for free in our country.
It's a great note to end on, for sure. And that there's hope. And that's why we have these conversations, to then be able to look into solutions. And thank you for sharing all of this with us this morning. Like we said, that type 2 diabetes is a whole other conversation. But I'm glad we got to do this. And we're glad to see that you're at 24. And we're looking forward to 36, 48. And we keep going.
Definitely.
You know,
Yes.
Dr. Eric Njenga is a diabetologist. He's joined us this morning. Sydney Njoroge, fighting it and living it. Thank you so much, guys. And we'll have a conversation in the near future. But keep going at it. And thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you so much.
It's 8:04, but it's worth it. Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
World 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. Loreto High School, Limuru, has placed 2 teachers through a disciplinary hearing and kicked off a safety review in the institution after allegations of sexual harassment and grooming of students emerged. A letter by the Board of Management stated that the disciplinary hearing follows investigations conducted by the school and the employer TSC. In the memo dated August 8, the board notes it sat 2 days earlier and had disciplinary cases for 2 teachers following the investigations. This comes amid widening national debate on sexual misconduct by teachers. Kenya Wildlife Service has warned communities on the shores of Lake Victoria to be vigilant, saying rising water levels of the lake could force wild animals to migrate into homes and escalate human-wildlife conflicts. Here's KWS Turkana Chief Officer Elijah Shege.
During the breeding season, the aggression increases, thus heightening the risk of attacks. In response, KWS has deployed rapid units to monitor crocodile movements and intervene swiftly in high-risk zones. A robust sensitization program is underway, equipping communities with vital knowledge on crocodile behavior, safe water access, and emergency protocols. KWS strongly advises that children should not be used in fishing activities, and livestock must not be left unattended near water sources.
Former Chief Justice David Maraga has condemned violence against journalists as goons unleashed violence along Mombasa Road during the return on Thursday of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua from the United States. We must urgently reset and restore our country to constitutionalism and the rule of law, Maraga said in a statement. Reporters from Standard Group and Royal Media Services who were covering Gachagua's procession to Kamakunji grounds were caught in the violence as unidentified groups trailing the convoy began pelting stones and blocking sections of the road. A Standard Group crew bore the brunt of the attack when their vehicle was rammed by another car. Jeff Kirui was injured and taken to hospital.
Tukajipata tuko katikati ya guns wa pande ile ya side ya nini Rigathi, na kulikuwa na wengine kutoka dingine walikuwa wamezuia hiyo magari ya kutoka kwa Rigiji isiteremke chini. So in that confusion kuhepa ndio mimi niliona giza nikashindwa. So kuangalia hivi nilikuwa nafikiria actually macho yangu imetoka. Ukiangalia hii ni nguo, ukiangalia hii yote ni damu. So a colleague alitoa shati yake akamwagilia maji ndio shikilia hivi.
Gachagua failed to address a promised rally at Kamakunji grounds with DCP Deputy Party Leader Cleophas Malala accusing the government of frustrating the event.
Wamechukua goods wakiongozwa na Sakaja na Aladwa na hawa vijana wa Nairobi. Sisi tunataka tuambie Sakaja na Aladwa hawatatuzoea hawa watu. Sisi tuko na haki ya kufanya mikutano. Wamekuwa wakipiga risasi gari za mheshimiwa Rigathi kila mahali wanaenda.
At least 18 people have been killed and dozens wounded in 2 separate attacks in Colombia, deepening the country's most serious security crisis in decades. 6 people died and more than 60 were injured after a car bomb exploded on a busy street in the western city of Cali in Colombia, according to authorities. Early on Thursday, a separate drone attack against a police helicopter killed at least 12 people in a rural area outside the northwestern city of Medellin. The attacks, attributed to different dissident factions of the now defunct Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia group, pose fresh challenges to Colombia's fragile peace process ahead of elections next year. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
A little sharing goes a long way with Safaricom.
Dad, thanks for helping me find those shoes on IG this morning. Your internet shopping skills are on point.
Of course. Maybe you say. And thanks for sending me that TikTok dance. Atim Nasabaga, it slapped me.
Aki, Dad, no one says that.
Mom, thanks for the call before the quiz. Who knew you'd be so good at remembering those dates?
Well, I do try. And thanks for sharing those hilarious memes on the family WhatsApp group. I needed the laugh. My day was going sideways.
And when they come home, the connection gets even better.
Guys, the show is starting. Are you guys ready?
Just a minute. Let me finish this online course.
Almost done with my game, Dad.
Just after I beat you.
It feels good to share with Safaricom Family Share from Safaricom Home. You can now enjoy a home fiber connection with a voice, data, and SMS plan that can be shared with up to 5 members of your family. Experience the convenience of paying for your home internet and mobile plan on one bill. And what's more, you get up to 20% off on your mobile connection with more value for you and your family. Dial *400# or go to My Safaricom app to add Family Share to your Safaricom Home Fiber.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 12 minutes after 8 o'clock. Good morning and welcome to the third hour of Kenya's biggest conversation this morning. Thank you for being here. Our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook and on X. And we, this morning, courtesy of Safaricom Home Fiber, are asking you to do one thing. Also with our audience on KTN. Send us a message on Facebook and tell us the different levels for Safaricom Home Fiber. How much do they cost? Bronze, silver and gold. Let us know what they cost. And now with what Dennis is about to tell us, we'll see if you're right. Eric is looking out for you and you could get 1,000 shillings, 2 of you each, courtesy of Safaricom Home Fiber in Talk Time.
Now imagine, even if you get that 1,000 bob, you still have an opportunity to get a Safaricom Home Fiber at 25% discount with double the speed. So when you talk about double the speed, what exactly do we mean? You know, anytime you get connected to internet, you want an internet service that is reliable, that is fast. That's why we're talking about double the speeds. Now, Safaricom is offering you all these in all the bundles that you're talking about. So that is the silver, gold, diamond, and and bronze. So when we talk about that 25% discount, and these allows you an opportunity to stream, an opportunity to do your online classes, online meetings, when you're doing webinars, when you're connecting with your loved ones abroad. Safaricom Home Fiber, because of its reliability and its speeds, you're able to do all these. Now, this is ending on the 31st of August. It started earlier this month. Now it's going all the way to the 31st. So you have how many days left? 9.
9 days.
So get connecting. This is available for all the new subscribers, and for you to get these, you go to star 400 hash, or you go to my Safaricom app, and you're able to onboard yourself from the comfort of your home across the country. It doesn't get any better than that. Remember, Safaricom Home Fiber feels good to be home.
Indeed, it does. Speaking about feeling good to be home, somebody came home yesterday, and it was called the Grand Homecoming, and all sorts of things happened. And we look at a weekend review this morning, and we do that with two gentlemen. Kimani Njeri is a politician. He's here in the hot seat this morning. Good morning.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine.
Yes, I want to hear why you called me.
Oh, you want to hear why we called you? All right.
I know you have story.
No, Dennis has stories. Dennis has stories.
Dennis is the one who has story.
We'll see in just a minute.
It is good.
Alex Mwadhi is a political analyst. He joins us here as well. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. Always a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invite.
Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for doing that with us this morning.
Okay.
And even as we do, Dennis went to Zambia, and we didn't do this the last hour, unfortunately. We went right into looking into a Healthy Friday conversation, but then we get to do it this hour where we ask you to interpret our proverb. Dennis, tell you what that is and where it's from.
Yeah, so today we are in Zambia. Now, Zambia, beautiful country. The players came to the country. We managed to do that thing to them, so we celebrate Harambee Stars for doing that thing. But then again, when you talk about Zambia, we look at what is powering the economy. So they are huge when it comes to in the mining sector. So they mine cobalt and copper. Think about copper, electricity, what we're enjoying right now, and Zambia is playing an important role in making sure that you're able to enjoy electricity. But beyond that, let's go to the proverb, right? The proverb talks about people being able to communicate regardless of where it is you are. So in the West, there are relatives. In the West, there are relatives. Mwadhi, how would you interpret that?
In the West,
there are relatives.
That's a very interesting one. Interpret it in the West, their relatives would mean that wherever you go, be respectful. Consider those people as people who would be your relatives or friends, even when you don't know them. And I think in normal social settings, I remember a couple of months ago, I went to a wedding setting, and guess who I found? City. And my friend's daughter was being married to City's sister's son. Looked at each other and said, I know you.
Yeah. In the West, they're relatives.
They're relatives, indeed.
Ashmi, how would you interpret it?
Well, I would say also that maybe with the copper, with the gold, we are all one at the same time, and we need to respect each other. There's what they have, there's what we have. Maybe we want football, maybe they do not win, but we are all the same. They have mining, we have the ball. So we are all equal.
Indeed. All right, so we're looking at the week in review today, and certain things have happened. We're coming off a week where certain things were said, whether people were up in arms in terms of the accusation of corruption or the allegations of corruption within Parliament, whether that be the National Assembly and or the Senate. And this coming from the CEO of the country, who basically said, no, get your house in order. This is not working. Let it go. This is all happening where political parties are starting to align or realign towards the elections in 2027. And then also we're looking at the former deputy president who was impeached, obviously, and then has been away in the West, interestingly enough, and then has then now made a re-entry, I don't know, triumphant return, not on a donkey, but into the country yesterday, and it was all this hullabaloo about, him coming back and what it would then portend towards the by-elections that are happening in not too long from now.
Yep.
Let's take the week in review. What does it mean for the country? And let's start from the last, which is now Rigathi Gachagua coming back into the country. Does it matter?
In our political sense, it does matter. Because as a country, we are really a political body to the level where we forget the real important issues of life. So that we hold leaders at such a high regard or importance in our lives to a nonsensical level, if you ask me. To an extent that everybody now knows that the elections are coming up in 2027. And in November, there is what we call the Kiambaa moment that's meant to happen. If you remember, in the last dispensation, the last parliament, we had Kawanjiko election in Kiambaa as the first election held by UDA. And that showed the direction in which they were going to go in the Mount Kenya region, as it were, and the entire country. So you have that moment in November, and that moment is being that Kiambaa moment is being thought to be the Malava, I think it's Malava constituency, and you have seen the amount of effort that has been put there. So the entry yesterday was meant to show that we have the numbers, that we can be able to pull out this cat out of the bag. And remember, the deputy leader for that party, the DCP for Gachagua, is a gentleman from the Western region, Cleopas Malala. So basically, this was a very important political statement for the DCP and supporters of what we are seeing to be a coalition of the opposition, which hasn't formed completely, but is in the cards. So looking at November, do the by-elections. Whoever wins these by-elections now will be able to move forward in 2026, claiming that we have the numbers. You don't. So it was critical to be able to show that power yesterday.
Did it show?
Unfortunately, if you remember, for the last almost a month, the government has been, because on one hand, the former deputy president was in the US and was snitching on Kenya, just to look for that's the best word I can use, snitching on Kenya to the Americans and to the rest of the world. And the government was trying to defend every position that he took. To an extent accusing him of close to criminal situation, because when you're waiting for someone to arrest him at the airport, then it means that there's some criminal activity that he has to do, to have done, because otherwise you have to ask the fella to write a statement, a police statement. So the government went out of its way to ensure that that was scuttled, and they succeeded, completely succeeded. They were supposed to be from the airport, speak on the way, like we've seen it in the past. We saw Matiba in the 1990s. We saw Ruto do the same. We've seen Baba. You remember the Baba when you are away moment. You remember that moment from airport to Uhuru Park when Baba you are away, and that became a clarion call for the next period towards elections. So DCP and its members must have been looking for that moment in Kamukunji. So something will come up that would be the clarion call for the rest of the period towards the elections. So when this was scuttled, remember the Minister for Interior started saying from I think last week that assemblies will not be allowed. You know, there was a language that was saying we will not allow this.
Yes, but on Wednesday evening or Wednesday during the day, the same CS for Interior said, look, people are allowed constitutionally to do what they need to do. In fact, we will provide the necessary security for them. They didn't scuttle anything. We did not see the police about. Did we see anything like that happen? So they had leeway. Who scuttled the process?
If you have people coming in and you have the police presence, like was it at the airport, what do members of the public do? They walk away. They don't feel safe to be able, because you have the police with the water cannons, with everything there. I'm sure you've seen the pictures. So it's like there was a war, some sort of war. This was just a politician coming home. Why do you want to have that kind of police presence at the airport? You're sending a message without sending the message, without saying it.
Yeah. So, Kimani, if you look at the arrival of Rigathi Gachagua back to the country yesterday, and Kenyans who showed up to meet him at the airport, you look at his journey from the airport towards Kamkunji and how that was. One would ask, first of all, did DCP achieve what it is they wanted? And did the government as well manage to block Gachagua from achieving what he needed to? And if so, why is the government scared of Gachagua?
Well, let me first respond that there's nothing government is scared. Scared of what? And there was, my brother is saying here, why there was police in the airport? I need to remind him. There's some things to be protected also. Even if it is here, when they are passing here, the security should be in the gate. They are also protecting the standard. So the protection that in the airport, don't forget we have guests, we have other things there, we have foreigners who are there. They need to be protected. And you could be saying the police did bad because actually they went against them or they fought them. There was nothing like that, as my sister is saying. It was cool. It's just taking their work to protect. Things may not be spoiled. Let me tell you one thing I have not even heard media saying. Maybe they don't know. Do you know we lost 2 boys yesterday? Here in the flyover Toto, Kobil? 2. We lost 2 boys. Because the shops were closed. People suspected, because there's a lot of people there, many people and boda and what. They suspected something can come bad, so they closed the shops. But 2 boys, they came and started routing, and they had a bike. I got them when I was going home. And they were beaten by the people, and they were dead. 2 of them died. If the police was there, maybe they could have protected. Sometimes there's not blame the police all the time, because they are there also to do their duty. And I think for yesterday, for Gachagua coming back, it failed. Maybe how they wanted the crowd. It did not work. But I want to see also, I saw some people, young people, also responding on them, which is bad because I don't know where they came from. Because they could just let it free. Let everybody do what he's supposed to do. And the people are saying, many people, even I've heard my brother trying to say that Mugo said that when Gachagua comes should be arrested. No statement like that one. Let's talk the fact and the truth. And if there is, let it be played here. He said, because of the word he said there in America, when he comes, he needs to take himself in the police, in the CID, to write a statement. Himself to take himself. That was the statement. By the word arrest, people are adding that, saying that he should be arrested. Why should he be arrested? For what?
You seem to think that the return of Rigathi Gachagua is of no consequence.
No. If you see the way it was, even the crowd, the people he had, the big crowd which they are always together, when they are putting the muscle in politics, they were not there. That is true. And let me tell you, I've experienced. I worked with Moi, I worked with Kibaki, Kenyatta, and I worked with the Ruto. Let me tell you, the crowd and the strength which was there before, I'm seeing it coming down. And also it is good they started early. So people, I came listening another lady when I was coming, and I had people commenting different. They are tired. They are tired on this all the time when it comes. When he was not there, the country was very cool, was very down. There was no problem. So I think let people learn as they came early, as they started this politics early. It is good and it is bad, because people will be tired, but also people will run. And the people will be able to learn them and to understand them. I think we need to be free without adding other things on something which is not there. Because I think yesterday, for Gachagua coming back, it was good. There was no problem. It's only that those small boys, I saw them are also responding. I don't know where they had came from, but I don't think there was a problem. He was supposed to go somewhere, Kamukunji or somewhere, to address. Maybe he did not go for, maybe the intelligent, he knew maybe those boys might be a problem. But I don't think there's anything bad with that. Let everybody, when you let people free to do their own things, it comes down because maybe they don't have marriage. The way it was prepared, Kina Malala, saying they know who Anadwa is organizing, so and so is organizing, wiping, to make that it will be bad when he comes. So I'll ask Kenya, let everybody do what he want to do in a good way and also protect the property of the people. Like those boys we lost. If we came yesterday and we lost 2 boys, surely, where are we going? And what are we teaching these young boys? I think we need to start now giving everybody his chance. Let him talk. Even in the meeting, let him go in the meeting. Let him talk. And you see this thing coming down.
Alex, do you think there was any significance on the return of Rigathi Gachagua to the country in terms of the politics and the way in which they are being simmered at the moment?
The point is that the fact that the whole process did not take place as expected, whatever the reason, and obviously people don't go around with videos to throw up. If somebody is not a visitor in Kenya, they know that there have been many statements that have been made about the arrival and arrest at the airport. So there's no need of asking for videos. Now, the fact that it was punctured, as it were, remember the idea was, like I mentioned, that the idea was for him to come home, the Matiba style, to come home, the Raila Odinga style. Last time, and they had also come from the US. Matiba, you remember, came from the UK. That time he came from the hospital. So the Kamkunji meeting did not take place. So that toned down the what you call the fire that they expected to be able to ignite with his landing. So that now he would be landing and floating on that. That was lost. Whatever the reason, that was lost. And how now they have to recreate again. Remember, you're a political country. And what happens is that at every election, we find a clarion call to follow. This was meant to start off the campaign for 2027. Now it's lost.
This return of Rigathi Gachagua
yes,
is meant to start off the campaign
in their mind.
For who?
In their mind.
For Kenya or for themselves?
For themselves.
Okay.
Because they are looking at what others have done in the past, that they have used an opportunity like this to be able to trigger the whole campaign process. It's for them, not for Kenya. It's always about them. Even when everybody else has done that, it's for them and for their trying to create their own popularity. That now was lost because they're not able to go to Kamkunji for whatever reason that happened. I think that's the question you asked me. So the significance of this is that now they have to recreate themselves because 2027 is facing Kenya and there must be elections and there must be the president and someone to oppose him in the process. So they'll have to reignite another way of bringing themselves to the fore.
Yeah. I asked the question in terms of Gashagua's return yesterday. So if you look at the articles that have been written, there are reports saying that witnesses saw goons being paid up to go scuttle and interfere with Gashagua's return. And this has been linked to allegedly that it is the government that paid goons to go scuttle that return. If Kimani, you're saying that the government had nothing to do with it, but here we're seeing reports to interfere with that report, which again I ask the question, why would this happen if Gachagua at all his return had no consequences whatsoever?
You know something which I disagree, and I disagree with you completely. Why are you saying government paid?
I've said according to reports and
these are papers. These are papers which we are used in propaganda. And if you tell them to prove, they cannot prove. It's just the way they are saying that the president said about the corruption. He has been told, come and prove. So even this one, let me tell you, let's not be reading things and having discussion with the rumor mongering and the papers, my friend, and Facebooks. No, that one will not help us. But also I ask my friend here, I'm shocked he is an analyst. I'm saying we need a clip of Murkomen where he said Gachagua should be arrested. He's just ignoring and saying we don't want a clip. Why do you want to brief you? Why do you want to brief you? Why can't we be mature enough to say, and the media does that very much. So and so said what? The clip comes. Did he say to be arrested? Those are the things, my friend. As analysts, we should be talking to save this country on the truth. Let's not be talking lies, my friend. And also, we always created issues in the papers, my friend. It is somebody who wrote, you don't know which side he is, and he want to create a store. And you know, if there's no stories in the paper, we cannot buy. So let's sometimes be using our common sense of measuring what you saw with your eyes and what you listened to in the ground. So I think we should recommend it is not bad, and those people to say that the government, we want to create a fight with the government and Gachagua and the other people all the time. If it is people who have been mentioned, maybe they were mobilizing, let's mention them and let's look whether they did it. But the government.
Alex, when you talk about such reports coming up, this comes from a history or a precedence that has been formed before. If you look at the demonstrations that have happened in Nairobi before, we've seen goons walking side by side with police officers. And then again, you see these reports coming from someone who served in government, pretty much in the party, because these is reports that it's coming from Malala, who served in cabinet a while ago and was also the Secretary General of the President's party. So when we hear such statements coming from them, should we just rub it under the rug and say it does not happen?
If we are to do that, then all should stop being in the media. Close it down. Because the media does their own investigation and speaks to people who tell them what they believe to be the truth, and they report on that. On the basis of that, and that's why we have political analysts. And the idea is to political analysts to depend on issues that they hear, see, and read about, and not be personal, not be individual, because then the argument is lost every time that you start attacking a person. The issue is, those are reports that are coming from the ground. Do we have proof of that? Yes, we do. Because yesterday, the convoy vehicles were stoned. There are reports, there are pictures of young people with pangas trying to scuttle people. It's not a story, it's a fact. The issue is that that's being allocated to have been paid by some government machinery. Do we have proof? The media now should be able to help us to unwrap that. But did it happen? Yes, it did. Who faced that attack is a convoy of Gachagua. You can't deny that. So who paid them? Obviously not Gachagua to come and ban his own vehicles. And the idea of having a discussion is that you have to sometimes remove yourself from, because I don't speak for Gachagua, I don't speak for the government. I don't. I look at the issue as they were and discuss the issues that are there. So yes, my friend, if the media reports something, like they say when there is smoke, there is fire. So yes, there is a reason for us to be concerned about that. Yeah.
How does this affect the politics? Because it seems as though whenever there is anything that would lead towards rally, which we see politics will use as a channel for communication, wherever we see that there is an announcement of such, the go-to thought is that there will be chaos and that there will be drama. Have we gotten to the place whereby that is how the politics is played out? Or should we be going much deeper into the place where people are saying, who will actually be the next alternate that is taking this country to the next level? We seem to be wrapped up in the thing. There was a goon, there was this, there were... And people are waiting for the clearing. Who's going to be the one who will come through all of this that will take Kenya from this point where it is to a better point tomorrow? We'll ask for both of you.
Well, let me say this. Don't forget that the people who are there, even yesterday with the Gachagua, there are people you saw with the posters, maybe trying also to take that opportunity to be seen there with him, and they are also standing maybe in Nairobi. Don't forget, it's politics. When they show that, maybe other side of the people also who want to vie, and maybe they are not in that group, they can protect themselves on putting those goons. That's how politics goes. They have seen, this is Njoroge, and Njoroge want to stand and is with the deputy president, and they are taking their pictures, former president, Akona pictures, saying placards, I'm here, and I'm standing in the Bakassi. So what do you think of the other person, who also is vying the same place? He must also maybe get into that. I've been in the politics all my years, and I know those things happen sometimes, and we come the end of the day blaming maybe Gachagua and also blaming maybe the government, but this is about interests of the people politically. They want also to be seen there. They have their supporters. And when they are recruiting their supporters on the ground, they know that when Gachagua is coming, he has somebody who want to buy in Embakasi or want to buy somewhere. So they will prepare myself. This thing can happen. And it happens many times, I know, in politics. It goes that way. But which is very bad because the end of the day, they make people lose their property. They make that yesterday we lost 2 boys. Is it important to do that? So don't blame even the Gachagua, don't blame the government. Even politicians themselves also, the way they set themselves, trying to show that they are there. You know, when you are seen more, it being in politics, that's what the politicians like. And when they are seen there more, and the other one they are not being seen, they must try to make sure that they are being seen also present with their supporters. And also that one can bring that clash, which we are seeing. But I think the way you are going, things are going to change slowly and slowly and slowly.
Things are going to change to what?
They're going to change. They're going to be tired. It's 2 years in politics, my friend. 2 years. You see, like now they tried, as my brother here is saying, like Matiba, like that point, it did not work like Matiba, like the other people. It is going down. It's not the way it was. And again, Gachagua could have understand with his advisors as him, to advise him and tell him, when he was there in America, he talked too much. So there's nothing people are waiting. He talked so much. He said many things. So people waiting for what? There's no good new news. You know, the time of Moi, people used to go to the airport. When he comes, they will have a meeting in the airport and with people. People will sing for him, and he will say where he was and what is called or what happened. But nowadays, it's not that way. Now it is completely different. Because that time people could go there in a big number to listen. He went, they did not know what he was doing. Can we wait for him to tell us? Now Gachagua talked too much outside. So people had nothing else to wait because they have all the news which he was saying. It goes that way in politics. And my friend, I will maybe ask him, can you offer free advice on the both sides, because you are Kenyans and also you like peace. Advice. We have been in politics. I'm born in politics myself. I've been with Moi, Kibaki, Uhuru, and this. I know how politics is played. And many people don't know the cards of politicians, how they play. And at the end of the day, the results come to benefit the ones who want to buy.
Okay, Alex.
Ndo, you ask a very pertinent question, and I think that is really a question that you need to take time and let that be the kind of a debate for that. What next? I want us to draw ourselves to 2 issues. One is Singapore. 1965, per capita income around 220, Kenya per capita income around 260. We get independence 2 years ahead of Singapore. Singapore starts moving. The Lee Kuan Yew, when it comes to power, he says, I have 2 options. Either become the richest man by doing whatever else he's doing, or make Singapore one of the richest countries in the world. He chose the second part. To an extent that by the time he came out of power, and he was a benevolent dictator, let's face it, he left. Kenya per capita income today is $1,900. Singapore per capita income is about $27,000. You're talking about 20 times more than Kenya. Because he chose the route of developing a country, yet we chose the route of politics. No one is going to get tired because we've been playing politics from 1963. And I can go through that and show you that what we have done for the last 62 years, we've played politics. We have not moved our country forward because of politics. So what we need to do, to answer you, we need to stop politics and start looking at this country as our home and something that we can build. Number 2, in 2002, March 18, a meeting was called by KANU chief, then Moi. And he sat down and they rebirthed KANU. And in that meeting, they announced that KANU ruled this country for 100 years. Who were they in that meeting? He made Ruto to be the secretary, I think, organizing secretary. Raila Odinga as the secretary general. Uhuru Kenyatta as a deputy. Mudavadi as a deputy. Kind of all these fellas that you see at the top of the political pyramid in this country were part of that declaration of 18 March. Our problem, though, is that we are under siege by the political cartels. They work together in private and pretend to be enemies in public. And it's a case of you run this way and I run this way, but we remember in the evening tutakutana. Whoever wins, we all benefit, we all eat. Because they are all eating in the same pot.
You know, you've mentioned about the departure point being the same point, but only that as we progress, there seems to be a division. But
there is no division. In the evening, there is no division.
Oh, come on.
They sit together.
What are you saying? So, look, come on.
That's why.
Over the last 2 months, let's just take 2 months. Rigathi Gachagwa's been in the US. There's things going on here. There's economic empowerment development here. There are parties which seems to be splitting at the hem, and you're trying to say that all of these are optics, they're political optics, and that at the end of the day they're having a cup of coffee or something stronger together.
In 2002, we had, after this March meeting, we had in the election, we had Uhuru Kenyatta against who? Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki was with Raila Odinga. Uhuru Kenyatta was with William Ruto. Can you imagine the venom they poured at each other?
Outside
in public. When it came to 2007, Ruto was with Raila Odinga. Right? And Kenyatta was on this side with Kibaki. Again, the venom. You come to 2013, movement of sit again, musical chairs move again. And they don't call each other in public palatable words. There are things that I cannot call you. Mganga, Muizi, those. These are in public domain, so I can mention them. They call each other Muizi, call each other Mganga. And within a month, they are sitting down together again in so-called handshakes in 2018, and now handshake in the last 1 year. It means that what they say in public, they don't mean it. They don't. It's just a game they are playing. And the political game they are playing benefits only them.
You see, when you talk about the political games that are happening, there's something that also happened during the week. The president came out and called out Parliament with regard to matters to do with corruption, accusing Parliament to be taking bribes for some bills to pass and whatnot. And that has caused a commotion between the executive and the legislature, even threatening to summon the president to come speak in the National Assembly. You have been member of Parliament, and this conversation that the president is bringing up, does he have any basis? Is Parliament that corrupt?
Well, let first me also respond before what my brother have said. He has said a very important point. The politician must stop and let this country to grow. How do we do it? That's my question to him. How do we do it? Who is the boss of the politician? The boss of politician, it is Wanjiku. When you come to election, make sure you elect the good people, because you are seeing them and they are born where you are, and they're asking for the position where they were born. You know their character, they went to the school, they went to what? So to change, my brother, I agree with you. A lot of politics will not make this country actually go ahead in a good way. But who can change? You have asked the question. You cannot just talk here and we say stop. No, we have no powers. Wanjiku must be taught to stop and to elect the right people. But you elect the people through the money again, cash, through the region, through the party. That's where we go wrong. Because the politician, you come and see, like now why some of them following Gachagua? Because they know Gachagua maybe in the Milima, maybe he is powerful there because of one tribe which is there. They will go there to be elected by the party or by the region. That is also the biggest problem. Let me come now to the members of parliament, what the president said. It is true, I've been in the parliament for 10 years. And it's true, there is corruption. I agree. There is corruption in the parliament. Where are they saying now? And they are saying now, we must pull out and we must now use our teeth. We must bite. Where were they before to bite? This thing, it is actually in the public. Public knows how they are and how they do. Like now my brother here, everybody knows in his village. They can be able to analyze him from when he started, he went to school, how has he got his property or has he got make money? People knows that. But you get some of them elected within a shortened time. Somebody what he is doing is unbelievable. It cannot align with the salary which is having. So actually what the president said, it is true there is a problem. And he has more network than anybody was. Can you imagine how many intelligent in the Kenya working and reporting? Let me tell you, when you come in politics, my friend, The file, it is with the intelligent. You must be open to a file. What you do? Do you like drinking? Do you like girls? What do you like doing? It is in the file. So that when the president asks, I would like so and so to appoint him, can you give me his CV? It will be brought immediately. They know you. So people think that it is something just coming just at once without having a record. The records are there. So the president has more network for that. And when he's saying even the governor, what they are, we are seeing, it is true. But there was a story of a bird which saw somebody doing bad, very bad thing somewhere. And whenever that person went in the meeting, the bird would come in the tree and start saying, I will say, I will say, I will say, unless you give me one finger. Then he could be given one finger. The bird went that way until this man, so 5 fingers have gone. So he said, no, enough is enough. You finish my finger. Just say what you want to say. Maybe that's where President have reached. Because even himself, maybe he was also pushed in the same issue until maybe he reached somebody say, no. Enough is enough. But the corruption, Mami, is there in a very big way. When he was saying in these committees, which are in the parliament, they are the worst, let me tell you. I'm saying this before my God knows that I was there. They call people in the ministry. They tell them, come, somebody have given a petition because of your ministry. But when it comes, there are some brokers in that committee who say, but come with 10 million. My committee want this and this, so we can make for you a good report. That thing is, and it's very serious. It cannot let this country grow.
Kimani,
actually, I agree because I was there, and I know.
Okay.
Even Wamushambo, when he was saying that people have been corrupted.
You used to receive money, and at the time when you were in Parliament.
Me, that way, have you ever had me accused even corruption anywhere?
I'm asking because you said you were there.
I'm saying no, and that's why I'm agreeing to confess that I know
that it happens with other people.
It happens. Even there was a woman with a bui. And when we had this BBI, I was there. And many people thought I would be against the BBI. But me, I was there for BBI. People are shocked. He was bui. He had carried mfuko kubwa ndani of money. And he was going from this seat to this seat, giving people 100. Are you going to vote? Yes. Are you going to vote? No. Are you going? You see, giving money. To prove myself I'm not corrupt in the parliament, people thought I would vote no. But I voted yes. Because of my conscience, I saw that BBI, that one was to help the country, was to balance the country. So even if we say it's corrupt, it's not all of them in the parliament who are corrupt. There are people even who are Christian there.
But
there's a number.
Okay, so here is a question where the president has called out parliament for corruption. Here are members of parliament again calling out the president and even allegations that this corruption stems from the executive itself. So as we talk about the president, as Kimani says, consumes raw intelligence, knows who's corrupt and who's not. We have all the agencies paid by the taxpayers to deal with corruption, and the executive itself being accused of being corrupt. Is the president then being genuine when he's calling out corruption and asking that corruption be fought to a point of forming a task force?
I will answer that with this week, I think maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Junaid Mohammed, the MP and one of the leaders of ODM, was recorded of having said that. Unfortunately, I don't have the video. Because you should be telling me which question you are going to ask me, so I can carry the videos with me. Junaid said that it's not bribe. He said he's lobbying. Yes, in the committees we receive money, but he's lobbying. And his justification is like the whole world does that. So what are you asking us? So the question is not whether that happens. A member of parliament, a senior member of parliament, I think he's a minority leader, admitted that they actually collect bribes, that they baptize that name. Now, for the president to call on members of parliament on corruption, it shocked some of us. And we started thinking, why is he doing it at this time? First of all, is to give people something to talk about in the course of this week. And it's been fonder for this week. To tone down. We know in politics you have to be strategic to tone down yesterday's activity, so that people can be talking about this more often. Number two, it concerns some of us because in the last 2 years, in the last 7 years, we've had an Auditor General who has come up with reports of misuse of money or corruption in the government.
Yes.
Including recent with the SHA and whatever 104 billion shillings. The president have never commented on that, on any of those things. Actually, if you ask me, if money was lost, say 104 billion shillings in that, eCitizen, the eCitizen last 2 weeks, there have been reports of 100 billion shillings being lost through to somebody else. There was a need to appoint a committee and spend some money and find out whether that is the truth, that actually happened and we lost that money. So to come and accuse now members of parliament who take to give him a benefit that at least he's spoken, so that we hope that from now onwards we'll not have a situation where we have stories that his executive have been mentioned to be in the same game. I'm just hoping that maybe this will stop, because corruption must stop from the top. If it stops from the top, then the people below will scatter, will stop. Yeah.
Do we see a situation where all of this is going to die down? You know, they say in a stampede, you move around, then the dust settles, and we'll actually see what has happened after the dust has settled. Are things any different? You seem to not be on the side of Rigathi Gachagua anymore, Kimani, and you were before, but that seems to have gone out the window. What made that shift for you?
You know, Ma'am, I would just answer you in a very simple way. People get married and they divorce.
Okay.
For the reasons which you will not ask them, they know. The husband knows or the wife knows why they are divorcing. So that's a normal thing.
Okay.
Unless a fool who cannot change. If you see things are not going well where you are, or you are devising and it's not working, you just move. There's no use of killing the wife or killing the husband. Just leave each other. Do the divorce. Somebody can go in his own way. That's what I did.
Okay.
After seeing things are not working the way maybe I really wanted, because I was advising. I'm the one who worked very hard for him to be there. So I have the reason, and because I'm elder.
For him to be where?
Yeah.
To be where?
To be having that seat of deputy president.
Oh, you worked for him?
Yes, I worked so much. We were 5 people. Me, the deputy. Let me not go in that story because I've repeated again and again and again. So I know, and I'm elder, and I don't want to go deep again talking very deep things. There are some secrets of issues which I cannot bring on the table. It might be taken and people use them in a different way. When you come to the corruption, can you remember former President Uhuru Mungai Kenyatta saying in the State House, the money being stolen 2 billion every day? Can you remember that? So if he said 2 billion every day, and Ruth also is saying that the money is being stolen, like SHA. People want to say SHA, it was started, then now is the government stealing. Let me tell you, we must know in this country, I don't know whether you have been stolen, hacked money in your account. The technology which we have, people are hacking money, not from here. I know many people, I cannot go deeper in that, who are hacking money from America. And it's passed so many areas, back to Dubai, then it is with the drone. Those things are working. So hacking, don't say that the president, when he says something, he is an angel, so everything must work the way he has put it. No. If you read the book, I don't know whether you are given one by these people of anti-corruption, you go through it, you will be able to see the corruption how it is. Not from top only, but everywhere there is corruption in a very bad way. In the road, in every sector, it is there. So when we continue showing finger in one side or showing one person, we are not going to succeed to fight with this corruption. The corruption is rooted, even down, it is there. And we must agree, the one who is corrupting and the one who is receiving, both of them, they are doing bad in this country. And we must agree, where do we start? My thinking, there are many people who have been arrested for stealing and maybe for corruption. And we see them, they are taken to the court. But are they jailed? Except Waitito, who was jailed. Where are all these other people Also, anti-corruption told us that there are 90 governors. They are supposed to be taken in the court. If the cases of politician after election, it is supposed to be winded in 6 months. Why can't we also put that law? Even somebody who have looted or stolen the money of the government or of the public, within 6 months, we hear those cases. They go 5 years. I know one of the MP in the area, he was found guilty for stealing the CDF money, using his own companies, and he was found guilty. But up to now, he is talking about the corruption. He is reading, and he's in Nairobi. He is still reading, and he is found guilty. And that case, you go like that, it has taken about now 5 years, been taken around. So, my friend, also there are many areas we want to push and put pressure so that we can see the justice. The justice, if people are jailed in the proper way, what they have done, people will fear. But if there's no jail, people can be jailed. Let me tell you, I think we need to get a president who is very radical, who can come and go like maybe look for somewhere in the desert, put a prison there, and agree how people they'll be jailed and to be taken there. But now we say the 3 arms of the government. These 3 arms of government, they are not independent from the Kenyans, 3 of them. They must show us the work they were given and why they are independent is to work on their own way. But when we are saying things are not working the way they are supposed to work, we shall talk and discuss about the corruption and continue doing that, and we shall not move out from that, my friend.
Indeed. Look, and I think this is it. I think the dust is still yet to settle around a lot of these things. So it's a kind of watch and see. But the politics, since 1963, they're not about to end.
Yes,
It's never too soon or never too end.
You ask whether this dust will settle and we see something different? My opinion is no. Because this has happened continuously, over and over again. We create dust, then it kind of settles. Before it settles down, we blow it up again. Before it comes down, we blow it again, and we will continue blowing it up until 2027. I would love to say this, that the only saving grace we have is we are able to change the politicians we have. And the only way you can do that is for the younger people who are under 40 years, who are 70% of the population of Kenya, wakes up today and decides that they want their own. It could be worse or whatever, but it would be different. If we go on with the way we are going, 2027 will come, one of them will be elected, nothing will change.
Political analyst, in 10 seconds.
Okay, let me add something there, because my brother maybe has never vied a seat. This youth you are saying, when we are vying, the last minute is almost to be closed about 5, because they close at 6. You get them in the polling station in a group, and they call you, come, we have not voted, this is our vote, what are you giving us? What are you giving us? Then maybe you send someone and sort how they want it. Then they will call other politicians again, come. We have not voted, we are going to vote. So you see these things, even when we say youth, they must be committed.
And let's see what that commitment is going to look like. Politician Kimani Njeri and political analyst Alex Madhi, thank you both for being here this morning. Let's see if the dust settles, what it looks like when it's clear. Good morning at 9:01.
Good morning, this is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. President William Ruto has commended Japan, Kenya's third largest source of official development assistance, for its continued support in various sectors such as health and agriculture. He was speaking at the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Yokohama. Ruto urged the Japanese government to deepen investments in Africa.
Kenya deeply values Japan's consistent support in critical sectors: education, health, agriculture, energy, infrastructure, and security. Even amid relentless and overlapping global crises, Africa's economies are among the fastest growing in the world. In 2025, Sub-Saharan Africa's GDP is projected to grow at 4% compared to a global average of 3%. Yet, these impressive numbers have not sufficiently translated into meaningful poverty reduction, substantive employment creation, or enhanced fiscal space for domestic resource mobilization.
The president emphasized that Africa is a good investment destination, urging investors to tap into the continent's abundant natural resources.
Africa has abundant resources, land, minerals, renewable energy, and a young tech-savvy workforce. By adding value to what we produce, whether it is coffee, tea, minerals, textiles, or services, we build industries, create local wealth, and therefore empower our citizens. This is how Africa stops being the world's supplier of unprocessed raw materials and extractives and becomes a global hub of high-value production, innovation, and prosperity.
Kenya and the US are set to start negotiations on a new trade agreement as the country seeks to secure billions earned in exporting goods to the US. It comes as uncertainty clouds the extension of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, or AGOA, which allows duty-free entry of certain goods from African countries to the American market. The two economies appear to be abandoning negotiations on the strategic investment and trade partnership that had taken place for over 2 years during former President Joe Biden's administration. They had, however, not signed a deal by the time Biden left office. In a statement following a meeting with a U.S. trade representative in Washington, D.C., Trade, Industry and Investment CS Lee Kinyanjui said Kenya was looking to start talks on a reciprocal trade agreement. Nurses in Machakos County called off their strike on Thursday, hours after a man collapsed and died in Mlolongo after failing to access medical attention. According to witnesses, the unidentified man walked to a local health facility at about 8 a.m., but it was closed. He started vomiting blood before he collapsed after sitting for hours outside the hospital gate. After reaching a deal with the county government, the Nurses Union Secretary, Mike Osaka, urged members to resume duty immediately.
Our government has agreed, number one, to clear our loans, to implement the SRC circular, to implement our nursing services allowance, 10,000 per month with arrears backdated. They've agreed to pay our uniform service allowance, which has increased to 25,000 from 10,000. We are going to form a committee with the government so that we can come up with a good list of nurses to be promoted within 2 weeks. All of the items which are raised in our strike notice, we have come to an agreement. And to our members, we are requesting you to resume duty immediately and not later than 48 hours.
The top diplomat of the European Union has warned against pushing Ukraine to give up territories to Russia as part of a future peace deal. Speaking in a first UK interview since EU leaders joined Donald Trump's White House peace talks with Ukraine, Kaja Kallas said letting Russia keep Ukrainian territories was a trap that Putin wants us to walk into. The Donbas region in eastern Ukraine has long been contested by Russia, with military aggression forcing 1.5 million Ukrainians to flee over the past decade. Ukraine has consistently rejected conceding Donbas to the Kremlin in exchange for peace, though Trump stressed the need for swapping of territories. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Get ready for non-stop adventure with Star Times. Join your favorite heroes and dive into a world of fun and excitement. Enjoy endless entertainment on top kids channels like ST Kids, Jim Jam, Toonami, Da Vinci, Baby TV, CBeebies, Boeing, ST Tunes and ST Kids Plus on your Star Times decoder. All this from as low as 329 shillings per month on aerial decoders with the Nyota package, or only as low as 549 shillings per month on dish decoders with the Nova package. Recharge your subscription for 2 months and get upgraded to the next high bouquet for free. Dial *858# for self-service or call 0730-710077 for customer care. This holiday, adventure begins at home. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Manze, nowadays ukipigia mse
Niko Rubies.
Upigie Mbogi, wase mko.
Sisi tuko Rubies.
Madhe, uko.
Niko Rubies.
Why is Kenya at Rubies?
Ultra-Trek Fuel, Castor Oil, Enjoy Shop, Tire Pressure, Rubies Gas, Chemist, Coffee.
Ala, na we, mbona uko Rubies?
Niko Rubies for Ultra-Trek, fuel that helps me drive longer, cleaner, better, and smoother.
Kwani Rubies iko na kila kitu?
Si washroom safi, si spot ya date, si snacks, Rubies iko na kila kitu.
Mse, uko, tukutane Rubies.
Rubies is making life's journey better.
A little sharing goes a long way with Safaricom.
Dad, thanks for helping me find those shoes on IG this morning. Your internet shopping skills are on point.
Of course. Mimi ni yule mse. And thanks for sending me that TikTok dance. Ati mnasemaga it slapped me?
Aki, Dad, no one says that.
Mom, thanks for the call before the quiz. Who knew you'd be so good at remembering those dates?
Well, I do try. And thanks for sharing those hilarious memes on the family WhatsApp group. I needed the laugh. My day was going sideways.
And when they come home, the connection gets even better.
Guys, the show is starting. Are you guys ready?
Just a minute. Let me finish this online course.
Almost done with my game, Dad.
Just after I beat you.
It feels good to share with Safaricom Family Share from Safaricom Home. You can now enjoy a home fiber connection with a voice, data, and SMS plan that can be shared with up to 5 members of your family. Experience the convenience of paying for your home internet and mobile plan on one bill. And what's more, you get up to 20% off on your mobile connection with more value for you and your family. Dial *400# or go to my Safaricom app to add Family Share to your Safaricom.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 SpiceFM, Nairobi.
It's 11 minutes after 9 o'clock. Good morning and welcome to the final hour of Kenya's biggest conversation for this morning as well as for this week. Getting into one that has been swirling in our minds for a while and also in our realities, but we'll get into that in just a minute. So I asked you to let us know what are the levels of the Safaricom Home Fiber, bronze, silver, gold, and how much do they cost? Because thanks to Safaricom Home Fiber, we're giving you 1,000 shillings of talk time to 2 of you this morning. And I am told that Mum Abby says, Safaricom Home Fiber offers a range of internet speeds. We're looking at 15 Mbps to 500 Mbps. You get 1,000 shillings of airtime. And Orinda Masinde also answered that correctly. And so just for you to remember, and Dennis is about to confirm that in just a minute, bronze at 2,200 at 2,250, silver at 30.75, and gold at 47.25, with diamond at 93.75. So Orina Masinde, you get 1,000 shillings of Safaricom airtime thanks to Safaricom Home Fiber. Did they get it right?
They did get it right.
And they've got 9 days to, if you want to do the thing, all right?
9 days to 31st of August to get onboarded on Safaricom Home Fiber. But what exactly are we talking about, Safaricom Home Fiber? We talk about free connectivity, free maintenance. We also talk about free installation. But that notwithstanding, even when you're getting onboarded on these, you're getting 25% 50% discount. Doesn't get any better than that. But then again, you're getting up to double speeds with all these offers that you are getting. Now, when you're talking about an internet in your home, you're thinking about fast